London's LBC 97.3. 0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Quite what I was after. Never mind. Right, here we go again. I'm Nick Abbott in for today, and then that's it for Sundays, right? Which is I don't know. I'm kind of exhausted. This is the second day in a row, 7 hours on the air. No one in the history of radio has ever done that, apart from me a few years ago when I used to do this. Also, this is what I was after. It's that last... it's just that someone has come in and removed his brain, which should be, concerning for all of us. I've got about 8 of those, and if you can guess all of them, I'll go out and buy you something with my money. Never in the history of British radio has anybody ever said that. Because they always, rely on the radio station, come up with prizes. Not only will I go out with my money and buy whatever you want, but I'll personally do it myself. I'll scour town, if necessary. So if you want to play the home game, just give us a ring. If not, then don't. So I go into work today at the other place where I play loud rock music. You wouldn't like it. And it's at 2 o'clock, Oxford Circus, right? There's this bloke. Every weekend he's there. He sets up a PA system. Imagine this. You can go to Oxford Circus, the busiest interchange in the whole of London, and you can just stand there with a PA... The Who themselves didn't have a PA system that was this loud, and he stands there for hours. I go in at 2, and he's giving it loads, and I come back at 6, and he's still there. I'm stunned by this. I thought... When I went in, I thought, oh, blimey, that bloke's there again. On and on and on he goes. And I couldn't, for a moment, imagine that we'd actually still be there when I got out. 4 hours later, he was still saying the same thing. Have you had Jesus into your life? Loud, really loud. I mean, this is incredible. There's one thing if people want to choose to go and have their own religion spoken at them in their the place of choice. That's fine. But ramming it down your throats where you don't have an option... I mean, imagine the people that have to work around there. They're surrounded by offices. This is in Oxford Circus. And he's got a PA system that he sets out there. Hello, have you... and he's kind of a weird guy. He looks like he should be... tending a ride in a travelling fairground. Not the sort of bloke you'd want to meet after dark, for instance. And as he's saying things about Jesus, he's stabbing the air with his fists. It's just really upsetting. I don't get it. How on earth can, in the middle of London, you set up your own PA system and start shouting at people? And it's not just an isolated incident. He's there every weekend. That's got to be against the law, right? To me, that's him... doing violence to us. Oh, this is bad. Look, I'm stumbling for words. I haven't even started yet. That seems to be a verbal violence to us. Thousands and thousands of people are skirting around this bloke, trying to... because he presents himself on the island where you cross Upper Regent Street. And you can't avoid him. If you're going to cross there, there's no way around of walking right by him as he's stabbing the air and asking you if you've... it's just in a really threatening manner. As though he's going to... I mean, he talks about Jesus as though he's offering you outside into the car park, like you spilled his pint. And people are just amazed. You see the open-mouthed expressions of the people who go by. I can't believe this is the middle of London. This guy's got his own PA system. Why aren't the police using their truncheons to beat him to the ground? Why aren't they stomping his guts out? The taser! It's just a thought. I mean, do you have to make an official complaint to get something done about it? Because Oxford Circus is not a stranger to police activity. They're all over the place, right? I mean, if not immediately visible, then they're parked just around the corner in case somebody nicks something out of Topshop or whatever, a Nike World. They'll be on you in a flash. So, I mean, they can't not notice this guy. Why aren't they speeding him from the scene in manacles? I'm confused. It's got to be against the law, so do they have to wait till someone complains? Well, I'm complaining right now. Get rid of him. It's irritating. Every single weekend. I mean, how would it be, for instance, if I just went outside the Police Commissioner Blair's flat? I could set up outside his 6th-floor penthouse. I could park myself on his balcony, set up my PA system, and then talk about, I don't know, I could talk about Joe Walsh. Have you let Joe Walsh into your life? His first 4 albums were great. So, anyway, I'm amazed. Every week, I'm amazed that he can get away with it. He's still there. He's a fixture every week. And right enough, there used to be a fixture of this nut who used to wander up and down Oxford Street with a less passion with less fish. Do you remember that guy? He used to hand out leaflets. I took one once, just out of curiosity. He used to parade up and down saying that the world would be a better place, or some such, if everyone was less passionate, i.e. sexual, and you would achieve such nirvana by eating less protein. I think that was his thing. Eat less protein, be less passionate, thumbs up all round. Up and down and up and down and up and down he would go, on a daily basis. But that was amusing, because he was obviously a bit, well, he was a loon, I can say that, without fear of consequence, because he's freshly dead now. And thank you, the deity of your choice, that we can, in this country, speak our minds about, at least we can speak our minds about dead people. It's illegal to speak our minds about anybody else. There's no such thing as free speech in this country, but at least we can say what we want about people who are dead. Oh, the amount of people who I can't wait to die. So I can say my bit. Shall I give you a list? 0870 9090 973. Let's go with our first call, which is in sunniest Bracknell. Jeffrey.
Yeah. Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Can I say one thing about your name?
Go on.
I think you should be really a character in a Los Angeles 1930s detective, cinema story type thing. Nick Abbot hunts down the mafia. You remember those? I think you've got that kind of name. Just Nick Abbott. Played by Humphrey Bogart. And Lauren Bacall's in the film as well. Right.
Humphrey Bogart would never have played any character called Nicholas.
No, Nick. It's shortened, isn't it? Nick.
Can you believe that with a surname, Abbott, my parents called me Nicholas? I mean, what would that get you in school? I'm a Nicholas Abbott? It's a good job they didn't send me to a seminary.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that, yeah. Or a brewery house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's a liquid refreshment called
Abbott Ale.
Exactly.
Spelt the same, yeah.
Yeah, that's strange.
I'm still waiting for my checks.
Well, check trousers or what?
No, I don't play golf.
No, listen, why not this man? He's doing a good job.
Do you know the bloke I'm talking about?
No, I don't know him personally, but I can imagine him. I think he might be featured on television. He's a man with a mission, isn't he, obviously?
I don't know, he's an irritant. I can't say that he's a loon, he might not be, but he's an irritant. I could stand up in court. No jury in the land would convict me. He is an irritant. He's dressed in a leather jacket, looks like he found it at a bus stop. And he's punching the air, talking about Jesus, intimidating everybody in Oxford Circus, which is a lot of people. Every single weekend he's there. He's got a PA. Now, to just stand there and say it, there's probably no law against just speaking, but there's got to be a law against setting your own PA system up in the busiest interchange in London. That's ridiculous.
You think it might be noise pollution?
I don't know. Maybe maybe set up the PA system for the Rolling Stones. They're coming into play later. Hey, Keith Richards fell out of a tree. Did you hear that?
Keith Richards fell out of a tree?
You didn't hear this? Oh, this is great.
Was he on drugs at the time?
I've got no idea. A rock star on drugs, I seriously doubt that.
Anyway, listen, this man, obviously, look, he's got the message across, hasn't he? I just said to the nice lady at the end of the phone, who's obviously in the studio with you, look, this guy's been more effective than the Archbishop of Canterbury, isn't he? You know, because the Archbishop of Canterbury is paid by you know, the established Church of England to talk about the Christian religion, and he's failing to get his message across because people are not going to church. And this man has affected your life, hasn't he?
Yes, but when the Archbishop of Canterbury speaks, you think, oh, he's a nice man. When this bloke speaks, you think, I want to beat him to the ground with a stick.
Well, I think Peter Tatchell thought the Archbishop of Canterbury was a nice man. He got up in Canterbury Cathedral and shouted at him.
Well, that's a matter for Peter Tatchell. I think his problem was the Archbishop of Canterbury. I think it was the Church in general. Because then, well, I suppose the Archbishop of Canterbury is just reflecting the views of what they perceive to be the Church in general. Good grief, we're not going to get into religion on this show now, are we?
No, you started it.
I started it. Oh, right. Here's another guy's offering me outside.
Well, are you complaining about the sort of... What's your big complaint? Is it the religious angle that you don't like someone, you know...
Both. First of all, I don't like someone shouting religion in my face. Not any religion, now or ever, anywhere, right? If I want to get religion, I'll go to where religion is, and then I'll have it thrust upon me by choice. Right. I don't want somebody shouting at it in my face. It's like pinning me to a wall and shouting Jesus at me. Don't want that. Secondly, I don't want it to be amplified.
Right. So you'll complain just as much if it's a Marxist kind of secular philosopher saying the social system is totally corrupt.
If it was a Buddhist saying that I should chill out, then I would be just as complaining if he was doing it with a microphone, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think you might be happy with the Buddhist because he'd be just sitting there meditating, wouldn't he?
Right.
Getting his karma right.
I had trouble parking my karma today in Oxford Circus. I couldn't believe it when my karma was still there when I went back 4 hours later.
I know people make money out of your karma.
Do they ever? I said this a little while ago, and I'm absolutely certain this. Either I'm losing my brain, and I went on a fair ride in a place near Barcelona called Port Aventura. I think I lost a part of my mental function on one of the rides there. I did it 3 times. It's a big mistake, because I was feeling a little dizzy on the second time, and the third time round I could barely stand up when I got off it. I've never been the same since.
So you need your chakras to be realigned.
Yeah. It's just these trousers I'm wearing.
Well, can I just ask? Because you're probably going to dump me in a minute.
Yeah, any moment now.
Right. What kind of things would have made you happy walking into Oxford Circus? Well, listen, being a sort of an out-of-town boy, is that near Piccadilly Square, or is it near Hyde Park Corner?
What? And how can you not know where Oxford Circus is?
Well, are there elephants in it? Zebras?
Okay, take a deep breath.
Yep.
Now hold it. 0870 9090 973. This is LBC 97.3, and we're going away to come back.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 9090 973.
Nick Abbot.
So, seriously, I'm making an official complaint now. I want this bloke gone by next Sunday, because I will be there again next Sunday. He's probably there on Saturday as well. Don't you think that's incredible? Because that is a really busy interchange where people are trying to cross right on Oxford Circus and Upper Regent Street. Thousands upon thousands of people an hour are streaming through there, desperate to get their hands on a £100 pair of trainers from Nike World. Why in God's name do they cost so much, by the way? I mean, the actual ingredients of the shoes must cost what? £1 at most, and they get made in they don't get made in Italy, that's for sure. They get made in Malaysia and places in the map you've never heard of. So the actual cost of £100 training shoe must be what, £5? And then they put it on a plinth and they revolve the plinth around. They charge you 150 quid, and people are queuing out the door to get one. And every so often they come up with something else. Oh, it's got bubbles in it, or it's got we pumped air in it. Air's free. So this is an official complaint. Are you listening, Mr. Blair? The chief of police, whatever his name is. What's his name? Blair. Ian Blair. They had his flat in the paper today. Do you know he lives in a flat that they bought with our money that costs, guess how much? That's right, £1 million. With our money, they bought him a £1 million flat. He lives in a penthouse on the river. Isn't that nice? And what good's he done lately? Keith Richards fell out of a tree. Did you hear this? Hang on a sec, I'll just take this call. Cheshire. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Nick. Hey, I'm a bit worried you won't be back next Saturday night.
No, Saturday, yes. Sunday, no.
You're probably going to hit this bloke over the head.
No, we pay our taxes. Somebody else should hit him over the head for us.
Hey, you know that last caller you had, Jeffrey?
Okay.
Well, Clive calls him Jeffro Dole from the countryside.
Right, well, that's a matter for Clive.
And you know, poor old Bob from Clive Ball's show? He's scared stiff you're going to come back, you know.
Honestly, no idea what you're talking about. Who?
You must
What?
remember Bob, the producer you worked with on Clive.
Oh, Bob the producer? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Caller.
Scared stiff he was of you.
No, he wasn't. He was fine.
Anyway, I'm in a bit of a quandary. I've lived in Chester now for 19 years.
Chester, that sounds nice. Sounds like steeples and trees and bushes.
Well, it's a nice city, but
Got a bush?
I originally come from London, you see.
Yeah.
And since I've been listening to LBC again, I've got a bit of a hankering to come back to London. So much so that I've been looking up places to buy in London. Now, should I go back? Should you ever go back?
Can you ever go back? How old are you?
45.
45. Probably not. You married?
Yes.
Children?
Yep.
No. Are they still living with you?
Yes.
Definitely not. First of all, you wouldn't be able... do you own your own place in Cheshire?
Yeah, I've got a house that's worth about 160,000.
160,000. Well, I'll tell you what, you could come to London, you could buy a parking space, and you could live in the car. How's that?
Well, I've had a look in Thames Mead, and I don't know what that's like, but you can get
Thames
a place
Mead.
there for about 170,000.
Right, well, if you can get a place there for 170,000, it's almost certainly not a place that you'd want to live.
Right. But what's London like now?
Same as it ever was. Smelly, dirty, full of rude people, people coughing in your face on the tube. It's a total nightmare. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Right, yeah, and speaking of...
And when I say I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, I say that as somebody who lives in a place that's not really like London. If you can find a place in London that's not really like London, that's leafy and green, and you can see a bit of water, then that is the best of all worlds, because at least you're within touching distance of civilization and, you know, art and all that sort of business that goes with the big city living. But you can also, you know, cosset yourself with a bit of... If you can get a bit of the country and drag it into London, and there's not many places in London that are like that. You either have to have £150 million in the bank so you can buy yourself a garden,
Yeah.
or you can just luck upon a place next to a park somewhere. Why don't you try that? But with 160 grand, there's no park that you could live anywhere near, believe me.
I mean, ideally, I'd love to live in Richmond, but I think they'd be outside my price.
Yeah, I think so, yeah, 160. You know what? There's houseboats that are parked in the most fantastic places, in places that flats would cost you £1,000 a square foot, and they're virtually giving them away in comparison. You can buy a houseboat in Chelsea, there's probably houseboats in Richmond. Why don't you go and live on a houseboat?
Oh, well, that's an idea, isn't it?
That is an excellent idea.
Anyway, just to finish on, I heard...
What's that, Lucy? Hang on a sec. They're about 90,000.
I think
What
it's
are?
about 90,000 houseboats.
Oh, houseboats.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Would you consider a houseboat?
Yeah, I looked at a few sort of, what do you call them, narrow boats.
Yeah, because you know what? Well, no, narrowboat.
Do you pay council tax, though?
I've got no idea. You pay mooring fees. I think you've got to pay to park there.
Yeah.
Like a traffic warden will come by with, you know, those things, those inflatable arm bands. He'll come splashing by, and if you haven't paid your mooring fee, he'll slap a wet ticket on you.
Hey, I heard you the other day on a podcast talking about...
You heard me on a podcast?
Yeah? Well, actually, it was downloaded from your website, sorry.
It's not my website. Be clear about this. It's not my website. It's other people's website.
A Nick Abbot Forum website.
Right.
Anyway, on it, you were talking...
Perhaps you shouldn't say that. They've got podcasts.
Well...
That's probably illegal.
Something like that.
Right.
Anyway, on it, you were talking about wiping your hands when you come out of toilets.
Yes.
And basically, when anyone in our work comes out of toilets, we use a tissue to wipe the handles with. In fact, now, we even wipe the toilet taps before we use them.
Well, that's an excellent idea, because if you think about it, what are the dirtiest things in a toilet? Probably not the actual toilet itself. It'll be the flush button or lever, because what's the first thing you touch after exactly? The flush button. The second thing will be the tap.
Yeah, then you wash your hands.
And then you turn the tap off with your hands, thereby
get dirty in yourself.
Yeah, exactly,
again.
yeah.
So I thought that was...
Re-icking yourself.
A good point to end on.
Don't worry about wiping them for other people. Just take a tissue, and then everything you touch in the toilet... God, I'm starting to sound like Hugh Hefner here. You touch it with you open the door with a tissue. Now, this is pathetic. Take a tissue and open the door with it. Or if none is available, if they've got those awful hot hand-blowed things that just sprays concentrated puke all over your hands, you pull your sleeve down, or in the absence of a sleeve, untuck your shirt and do it.
Yeah, do you know...
And if you're not wearing a shirt, then, well, you shouldn't be in the supermarket anyway.
Yeah, you know, on the inside of our toilets where I work...
I don't, actually, funny enough.
Well, it actually says that you can get hepatitis something, you can get AIDS, and you can get anything else from not washing your hands and touching somewhere on the in the cubicle.
AIDS.
Yeah, I'm joking. Seriously.
Well, you may not be joking, but I think somebody is having a laugh. But anyway, whatever you do, wash your hands, always, afterwards, and before, and during. Well, maybe not during. Thanks a lot, Stephen.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Be clean and decent, honest and true. Always. Will you do that for me? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go with... have we got time? Yes, we probably do. How about one in... Why is Stephen still there in Cheshire? He's gone, surely. He's rang back. I'm confused. Who should I go to next, Lucy?
Philip.
Oh, she did it for me. Philip.
Good evening, Nick.
South Norwood.
You were talking
What's
earlier
that like?
about this guy up in London that...
Never mind, just press on.
For want of a better word, is a street evangelist.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, let's call him that then. Sure.
One of the...
Street irritant.
One of my greatest pleasures when I go to America is a Sunday morning putting on the television and having a jolly good laugh watching these evangelists selling religion on television.
You don't have to go to America. They're on Sky. If you go up into the exotic channels, up into the thousands...
I must admit, we used to get them, and it really is a great pleasure for a couple of hours to watch the various evangelists at work. And
why do they always say at the end of every word? Duh.
Yeah, my favourite is the relative of Jerry Lee Lewis, Jimmy Swaggart.
Jimmy Swaggart is a relative of Jerry Lee Lewis?
Yeah, he's a cousin. Yeah, but he was featured in the film... the character's featured in the film Great Balls of Fire. And Jimmy Swaggart is... he became a sort of evangelist. He still sings country music, this guy. And
didn't he get arrested for some financial irregularity?
That's right.
Can you believe that there are people practicing Jesus on television and asking you to send them your money in order that they may pray for your soul, who are actually using your money to feather their own nest? Isn't that incredible?
I tell you, the one that I think a lot of people will remember was a guy called Garner Ted Armstrong. Now, Garner Ted Armstrong is featured in a famous singing group song. Have you heard of the Bonzos? Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, Nick?
Yes.
Do you remember the song, the intro and the outro?
Intro, outro song, yes.
Well, the name of the vocalist is listed as Garner Ted Armstrong.
No, but surely...
No, I know it was Vivian Stanton. But, as you know in the song...
Barely finish a sentence with this bloke.
They feature all these amazing people supposedly on the... You know, General de Gaulle, Princess Anne...
Yes.
...on the song. Well, the vocalist is said by Vivian to be Garner Ted Armstrong.
Right.
And I once had the chance to speak to Neil Innes on a phone-in, and I asked him why he'd chosen Garner Ted Armstrong. And he said that, like myself, he used to get such a laugh out of watching these evangelists that he chose that name for the vocalist on the song.
Well, you live and learn, eh?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, there's another guy on there called Jack Van Impe, who's got a wife called Roxella.
Right. And that's strange because...
Well, I mean, it's an unusual name for a start.
I wish I hadn't asked now.
And even more strange is to see what he's doing. He's combining politics with religion. So you get all the right-wing politics mixed in with Jesus is going to save you, but, you know, we've got to go out and bomb somebody. I mean, there's so many of the women evangelists are great as well. There's a very, very tall, stern-looking woman called Joyce Meyer. I think they show her over here on that Sky channel you're talking about. Flipping, she scares the life out of me when I see her.
Well, you spend a lot of time watching this stuff.
No, it's just that, you know, when I've, you know, been in America, I've watched the programs, and I think it's very, very interesting over the years the way that evangelists have gone onto television, let's say to make money or to win converts, you know. But it's just such an interesting thing to see, you know.
Right.
I'm just glad we don't have, we have got a channel over here, haven't we, a radio channel?
Well, you don't need a channel. All you need to do is open your window and you'll be able to hear this bloke loud and clear, broadcasting from the centre of Oxford Circus to the circles of your mind.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3. London's LBC 97.3.
Nick Abbott. 0870 90 90 973.
Well, I thought I was weird. Lucy just handed me the thing. It's just one of the things that you carry around in your handbag.
Yes.
Do you actually have a handbag?
I do, yeah.
You don't seem like the sort of person, I guess all women have handbags, right? Because they don't have pockets.
One.
A chunky handbag,
Yeah.
right. Are you the sort of person who buys another handbag every 6 months? I'll take that as a yes. So there's a thing called... It's like a hand spray. Kills 99.8% of all germs. That's right. Great. What about the 0.02% that's going to kill you? Because if 0.20% of the germs that this thing is sprayed on can survive, then those are the ones that are really dangerous, right? You spray it on your hands. Warning, do not spray... do not spray in your eyes. So, I mean, can you believe... can you believe that they actually have to put that stuff on things now? I mean, I'm amazed it doesn't say do not spray on your cat and set light to it. Because somebody will, and then they'll sue them for compensation. Instant hand sanitizer. Use any time, any place, without towels. Non-drying, alcohol-free, leaves hands feeling refreshed, naturally moisturised, without stickiness. Hands up who doesn't like stickiness. Oh, that's everybody. Kills. E. coli, salmonella, pseudomonas. I bet you didn't even know you had to get rid of those. And 99.8% of all germs in seconds. Also peels the skin off your hands. You're perfectly safe with that. You know what you want to spray that on? Your keyboard at work. You know what the filthiest thing in an office is? And it's not the toilet. It's the keyboard that you work at. And the mouse thing. What do you call these things? Mouse. Mice.
Mouse.
Mouses. Mice. Is the plural of a mouse a mice? I mean, I know the actual animal, but...
Meese.
Is it so speaks our engineer. Oh my God, we're doomed. Is the plural of computer mice? Surely not. Mouses.
Mouses, I would probably guess, but it sounds wrong, doesn't it, because of the animal?
Yeah. Well, we'll think about that, eh? But not for too long. Let's have one in Enfield. Hey, did you hear that Keith Richards fell out of a tree? Hey, Tony.
Hello there.
Tony.
Yes. This street evangelist, driving a London cab, I drive past him on Oxford Circus, and I have opportunity of having a few words with him by asking him where is he, because he talks about Jesus, you know, as if he lives up in Hampstead or Belgravia.
This guy lives in Hampstead?
No, I'm saying, you know, where is he? I says, where is he?
Oh, right, where's Jesus?
Why don't he get down here and sort this lot out, blah, blah, blah.
Then he can start with him, yeah.
Yeah, and then he starts saying one or two derogatory things about licensed London cabbies, but I find it right, it's a bit of like banter, really, but I think he's there more of a weekday, apart from weekends, and there's a lady that's joined him on the island on Regent Street, so he's on the sort of north side of the island on Regent Street, and she's on the south side bit. So And I think they're alternative weekends or weekdays now.
Oh, blimey, it's like dueling banjos for the religious types.
And
Ding-a-ling-ling-ling.
really, it's absolute. I think there must be some bylaw that they break. But getting back to evangelists in America, I think I find it rather, I can fall off the chair to listen to these evangelists in America because they use God as a defense mechanism, like God bless America. And when you think of all the bombings and wars and poverty and deprivation in America, on how on earth they can talk about Jesus, it defies belief. But that's what they do in my mind. They use God, Jesus, as a defense mechanism, you know, and we know what's happening in Iraq and all the rest of it. So they don't get any change. I mean, I've had them in the cab and they say to me, Jesus is, I've never met one of them. You know, I've never met a Christian.
So when you're going by this guy, do you ever get the urge to mount the pavement?
Well, no, I'd do too much damage to the cab.
Right.
But let me say this, I was on foot one time doing some shopping in John Lewis, and I come out and I actually went up to him, and I says, you know, this is really... But this chap, he said, look, he says, our office is just there, he says, and we can't even hear ourselves speak sometimes with your speaker. So there was exactly what you were saying, Nick. There was a complaint, a verbal complaint, by a chap, booted and suited, one of the office people there, and he says, you know, we can hear your voice and that bloody microphone speaker thing.
Right, well, why can't the police do something about it? I don't get it.
Well, I suppose nobody's ever made a complaint. I mean,
I'm making a complaint. I'm making a complaint to the whole of London right now. I want him out.
Well, you've got my support, but as I say, they, you know, I mean, when they talk about Jesus, and I mean, I'm coming from an atheistic point of view anyway, but I always say, where is he? And they talk about Jesus, half the world's starving to death, the other half's bombing each other because they've got too much. They talk about Jesus.
All right, thanks a lot, Tony.
Okay.
Cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
If you want to get cheered up, talk to a London cabbie. Oh, come on. Hey, you know, very shortly, it'll be the 6th of the 6th, 666. It's coming right up. Are we scared yet? Is anybody nervous in any way? In America, they're running to the exits, screaming. For one group of expectant mothers, they're due, because people are going to give birth on the 6th of the 6th. For one group of expectant mothers, their due date holds an extra dimension of dread. The prospect of giving birth on June the 6th has prompted talk of spawning devil children on Armageddon Day. A British self-help group that usually exchanges routine tips on parenting has turned its attention to the dangers of the date, 6606, marked by the satanic symbol. Hollywood and the worldwide entertainment industry is, by contrast, giving it massive smiles. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to turn evil into gold. Leading the charge? That's right, Rupert Murdoch. 20th Century Fox's remake of The Omen. Why do you want to remake The Omen? Has everybody seen it? What's the point? They've totally run out of ideas, haven't they? It's like on the London stage they've run out of ideas, and all they ever do is put on versions of films we've already seen. And with the single exception of Chicago, which is so much better than that awful film they made of it, which won the Academy Award, didn't it? They must have made them an offer they couldn't refuse. Terrible. The stage show is great. Every other stage version of a musical that you've already seen the film of is pants. Why would you want to spend 50 quid or whatever it is to go and see those now? But now they're remaking old films because they just flat out run out of scripts. So The Omen is going to be released again. You haven't seen the posters for it yet because every poster site in the whole of town is taken up with Tom Cruise's pensive face. It's coming on June the 6th. In America, the marketing of the apocalypse is well underway. Slayer, one of America's most popular heavy metal rock groups, will start its Unholy Alliance tour, subtitled Preaching to the Perverted. And inevitably the internet is awash with frenzied doomsday speculation. While some Armageddon believers fear that 6606 will be a day of satanic power that may be marked by a comet hitting the Earth, others, maybe it'll hit him. What do you think? Because if I'm irritated, you'd think that, God above would be like, this is the man that's representing me on Earth? Surely not. He looks like he should be spinning the cabins on a Wurzel. What do they call those things? Wurzel flyers. What do they call them? You know, the Wurzel. The thing that makes you sick at a travelling fair. The Waltzer. Not the Wurzels. They had a hit with I'm a Cider Drinker. Everyone's a cider drinker now. I've been drinking cider for my entire adult life. So I don't really... let's face it, beer doesn't taste that great. Are there any beer companies advertising with us right now? If so, everyone should have at least, 10 pints a day. It'll make the world just, it'll make your day spin right by. But cider is my typical choice, and now suddenly it's fashionable. And so I'm, hesitant about asking for it in pubs, because people think, he's just climbing on the bandwagon. Now they're serving it with ice. You don't put ice in cider. That's ridiculous. It's just another gimmick, like they had that beer that came over that you put a lime in. And right enough, it was the first time that anybody in this country had ever seen a lime, because previous to Sol coming over, Sol was beer, right? You couldn't buy and they certainly never had one in a bar. Revolutionised bars in this country, so it did. Suddenly because it used to be a slice of lemon so thin you could read newsprint through it. And now they had actual wedges, which was incredible. I couldn't believe it when I was, because you'd expect in this country, previous to that, they're very, because we're not used to fruit. We don't grow it, we have to import all of it. Apart from apples and pears, which you can never find in the supermarket, they always import apples and pears from New Zealand, which seems to be insane to me. Try finding British produce in your local supermarket. It doesn't exist. Maybe we send it to New Zealand and they send out their stuff to us, thereby doing their bit to save the environment. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, on one popular evangelical website last week, a rapture index that calculates the likelihood of the Lord's arrival stood at 156, which the website declared was time to fasten your seatbelts. By contrast, another website claimed that the Antichrist had already arrived and is preaching to the perverted in... Never mind. He is supposedly George, which is 6 letters, Walker, also 6 letters, Bush Jr., 6 letters, the president, whose name adds up to 666. The violence and destruction that began when Bush first entered office is now certain to culminate in the apocalypse as predicted in the Bible over 2,000 years ago, warned Stephen Hanchett of his Bush Antichrist blogspot.com.
Absolutely.
The 666 phenomenon is based on a disputed passage from the Book of Revelation, which in several popular versions declares that the number of the beast to be 666. Although some biblical scholars claim that there was a mistranslation and the number should be 616, which is the train that leaves Waterloo, so packed that you can't get a seat. The majority of Americans may well conclude that if the last 6606, which was in 1906, failed to end in apocalypse, they might survive this one too. But the current vogue for horror films suggests that omens for foxes, omen 666, may be bright whatever the release date. Unless, of course, anyone notices the numerological significance of fox. As one contributor to Ariana Huffington's blog, this is this blog from this posh woman in the States, right? And everybody's very upset about it because it's anti-government. Ariana Huffington. Google that if you can be bothered to spell out such a gigantic name. She pointed out that last week that F is the 6th letter of the alphabet, O is the 15th letter, and 1 and 5, 15, equals 6, and X is the 24th letter, 2, 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. Could Fox be the studio of the beast? Good day, mate.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Hey, did you hear that Keith Richards injured himself? I'll get to that in a minute. First off, it's Kilburn. Hello, Donette.
Hello.
Donette. I've never heard of anybody in my life called Donette. It sounds like a small Don. You're not related to the family, are you?
Which the small Don? No. I think my ear is burning from sitting on the phone so long. You know?
Yeah, you know what? When you sit on the phone and you're waiting on the phone, after a while you realise that you're pressing the phone into your head with great force, and you didn't realise it. Yeah. Funny that.
Nicholas, how many people are in Oxford Street, Oxford Circus?
56,000 a day.
Oh, I'm not talking about the streets, I'm talking about just Oxford Circus.
Well, a boatload.
Because how long did it take Jesus to preach to 3,000 about the fishes and the loaves, and he didn't use any electronics?
Yeah, you're quite right, Donette.
That man is an exhibitionist, he's an extrovert, he's offensive, and he doesn't enhance the image of the Christ at all.
You know what? It doesn't enhance the image of London either. Come on, Mayor Ken Livingstone, will you do something about it? You try to get rid of those people that sell those hot dogs on the street, and we know what they're made of, don't we? You turn a pig around and you're looking at it. So we tried to get rid of those, and just the smell of them, it's just appalling. And they used to set up on the bridge, you know, the embankment bridge, you know, those lovely white embankment bridges with the blue lights on top. It's beautiful. They haul their carts up onto them. How they get them up there, I've got no idea, but they do. On the South Bank as well, they do that.
Yes, but Nicholas, on the one hand,
you call me Nick. Only my parents call me Nicholas.
Okay, Nick. On the one hand, they're working really hard, and other people are just lying around pushing you for money in the street. They don't ask you for money; they're offering you something.
Yeah, but it's repellent. Like this bloke, he's repellent. But at least he doesn't. Well, I haven't got close enough. No one can. The volume beats you back. I've got no idea what he smells like.
If he's standing outside a shop that I want to go into, I actually detour and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, you think that Nike would be really upset because, people who shop at Nike aren't really, you'd think that on average they're not really interested in being shouted at about Jesus in their face.
Well, they're probably...
Nike customers are probably not the type of people who go to church a lot.
Those are the ones he's aiming at.
Oh, do you think he's specifically targeting people who wear Nike?
Nike.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
He must be breaking some bylaw.
Yeah, he's got to be. Who's on the other side? H&M. Oh, they're probably just like him. Yeah.
And that shoe shop, is it Shelley's Shoes?
Shelley's, yeah. Benetton. Oh, they're all going to hell. All of those people. Yeah.
But I used to be a raving Pentecostal myself, but it was his type that changed my mind, and I just turned away from it all. Couldn't do it.
But it's so aggressive as well. It's not like, excuse me, have you accepted Jesus into your life? It's almost as though he's threatening to punch Jesus into your life.
Sometimes I wish somebody would trip up and push that megaphone down his throat.
Well, someone should get him with a cattle prod or something, or just put him in the boot of a car and drive him out into Essex.
Yeah.
I mean, MI5, surely that's something that they can do. Tony Blair has them do that sort of stuff all the time, doesn't he? Drive people out in the middle of a field, never heard of again. They committed suicide.
I had a cider in New Haven yesterday.
Did you? How was it for you?
It was good, because I don't drink the commercial ciders. I like bottled cider.
What's not commercial about that?
It's commercial, but it's purer, I think. Whereas, the others that are in cans and... I don't think they're as nice as the ones that come in bottles.
I used to work at a pub.
I get a headache.
I used to work in a pub, and you know what you do at the end of the night?
What?
You go around the tables, because people don't finish their pints, right? So there's quite a lot of beer left in a pub at the end of the night. And you go around the tables, and you put all the beer, without discrimination, without separating them into different types of beer, into a bucket.
Yeah.
Guess where you take the bucket? That's right.
The cider pump.
Into the cellar. And then you use a funnel... because you can push the seal of the barrel open with a funnel, and you can pour the bucket of slops back into the barrel for the delectation of the first customer the next day.
That's probably why so many people rush to get into the pub.
But the one thing they didn't put back was cider, because there's not a lot of slops with cider, because it doesn't spill out as you're pulling a pint. And not many people drink it, so it's hardly worth their while. But you can come down after a day's serving with buckets of beer, and back it goes.
And you know what the other thing I wanted to tell you?
So, by the way, Donette, you're quite right. Only drink out of bottles. Oh, and never in a supermarket take bread that is not wrapped. You know that, don't you? Ever?
I don't eat bread. It gives me stomachache.
Oh, right.
I eat pita bread.
Pita bread?
Yes, it's got half the calories as well.
Of all the things in all... no, it doesn't.
It has.
Right. Well, I stand corrected.
The last digest, they said so.
Huh. But it's not interesting. I mean, so, you know, bread can be interesting, apart from pita bread, which flat out isn't.
No, you pop a pita into the toaster. When it comes out, it's swollen. Then you have to get a tissue to hold it, and you slice it open, and then you push everything inside. It's delicious. Bananas on hot pita. Delicious.
Okay. Have you ever tried bananas and jam and peanut butter?
I love jam and peanut butter, but not with bananas.
Oh yeah, bananas. It's the cherry on the cake, so to speak. It's the banana on the sandwich.
Oh.
Literally.
Do you know what else I wanted to tell you?
Wait a minute. It's coming to me. No.
Okay. I saw a man on the tube the other day. He was covering the handrail with a tissue before hanging onto the handrail for dear life.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, pretty soon I'm going to be walking around with, like the Queen, with white gloves. Maybe that's why the Queen wears white gloves, because, you know, where can she... You should send this to the Queen. What's it called? No germs. I'm going to send it to the Queen. I'm going to go round the palace, knock on the front door. Excuse me, Your Majesty. How are your hands?
And the other thing is, Nick, why don't they have, you know, at the base of the toilet bowl, they should have a push pedal.
Yes, I've seen those abroad. Yeah, you're quite right.
I've been into some...
Similarly with taps.
Some hand basins have got push pedals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good idea.
Yes.
And doors should open as you approach. Apart from cubicle doors. That would be a mistake. We can make an exception there.
Oh. Please get rid of that man.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Thank you. You've got my full support.
Okay, cheers, Donette.
Thank you.
Ta-da.
Bye.
What a nice lady. 0870 9090973. Let's go with Chingford. Amma.
Hello?
Amma.
Hello?
Hey, Amma.
You know before when you mentioned Tom Cruise?
Yes.
It's funny you should talk about that, because me and my sister were just debating pictures of him in a magazine.
Right.
And you know before when you were talking about...
what kind of a magazine was it, by the way?
It was... Hello magazine.
Oh, right. Nothing that came in plastic. Okay.
And you know before when you were talking about toilet door handles?
Yeah.
Well, in my school, the ones there are really dirty.
I can imagine, yeah.
And sometimes when my friends go out, and I'm still in the toilet, when I come out, the door's shut, and I spend half my playtime waiting for someone to come in.
Waiting for someone to come in so that you can go out. You are a freak. Has anybody ever told you that?
Yeah, a few times.
A couple of times, all right. Something to think about. All right, cheers, Amma. Tata, you're holding the phone, by the way. You know what kind of germs that you find on the phone?
Nick Abbott.
Okay, I'm going to need a lot more assistance than this. 0870 9090973. This is the second day in a row that I've been on the air for 7 hours, which has never been done before. Although I drove in and I was listening at LBC and Steve Allen was on. He is funny. How can one man dislike so much for such a long period of time? He makes me laugh. He hates everything. I was talking yesterday about, the whole word for radios is tranny, and I was saying, not an actual transvestite, but you know what? I bet you could pick up the Steve Allen Show on a transvestite. What do you think? So anyway, I was going into work to do a 4-hour shift playing loud rock music. You'd hate it. And Steve Allen was on. He was going on about the cruises. You know, this cruise, the world's biggest cruise liner, docked in Britain for the first time. And he was quite right. The BBC were giving it an advert, basically. Which they do all the time. If you watch that stupid BBC breakfast news, which I can't bear anymore. I've started to watch Sky News, and when they go for ads, I watch CNN. Because BBC breakfast news is just flat out the stupidest news programme on television. I just can't bear it anymore. You just to sit there with open... it irritates me at the beginning of my day. I haven't even got through my cereal, and I'm furious already. thinking about how much of my money they're spending on this tripe. But anyway, they gave a gigantic advert to the world's largest cruise liner, which docked in Britain for the first time. A 15-deck Freedom of the Seas, it was called. It arrived at Southampton before blah, blah, who cares? And on and on and on and on they went. It was an advert, and Steve Allen was quite right, and he went on to describe his his experience on board ship. Okay, here's a tip: never go on a cruise, ever. You're stuck on a boat with people who have chosen to go on a cruise. Why would you want to do that? At least on land, you can get in the car and flee. You can change hotel, but at sea, you can't change boats. Just don't do it. Got to be a bad idea. But yeah, so the breakfast news thing, that's what I was talking about. It's I don't know, it's just become completely unwatchable. Obviously someone at the BBC has gone to America and seen these chummy news shows in the morning over there, and what works in America doesn't necessarily work here. Especially when you've got people who are trained as journalists who are now trying to come across as chummy as Eamon Holmes. And you know what? Eamon Holmes is actually very good on Sky News. He's much more watchable, although he's in a set that looks like he's on in the Starship Enterprise. The set is so bad. And every now and again they have the world's campest man, Graham Norton, sit down, not you. It's a guy called Neil Schon, who bounces up and down like he's being electrocuted constantly. It's painful. Yeah, you think that that Larry Grayson and I've just mentioned his name, but I've forgotten it. Graham Norton, who protested his innocence about campery the other day. Says, "Oh, what, me camp? No, they're shoehorning me into being camp. I'm really John Wayne in disguise." But this Neil Sean or whatever his name is, oh man, he's got to go. But Eamon Holmes is great. How can Sky News be a more intelligent watch than the BBC in the morning? Amazing. But the best thing about... Oh, I haven't got any time for this now. Okay. Well, I'll act like Steve Allen. I'll come back ranting just as I am now. I'll hold on to a head of steam. I'll put a lid on it and come back at you after... Well, it's going to be the bad news, really, isn't it? How's Wayne Rooney?
Available on DAB Digital Radio. London, LBC 97.3. London's LBC 97.3. 0870 90 90 973. Nick Abbott.
It's the last that should cause concern. I mean, there's nothing going on in there, is there? That's borderline hospitalisation. That's scary. Hey, does anyone want to play the game? Adrian, how about you?
Hello, Nick.
Adrian.
Yeah, I'll have a go.
Oh, you can keep the music up. We'll dance around it. Adrian.
Yeah. Right,
hang on a minute.
Okay.
Off you go.
Okay. Right. Yeah, mobile phones. I changed mine recently. And, you know, you can order them off the internet and whatever these days, can't you?
Hang on. Here we go. Carry on.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, looking on the internet...
He's unfazable. He'll just carry on regardless. What a pro.
Okay. Am I allowed to carry on now?
Yes, get on with it.
Okay, yeah, let's look. You can look on the internet, you can see specifications and that. So, but I don't know if you're the same. I like to actually look what it feels like to hold and, you know, to live with. So you go in a mobile phone shop, and they're a nightmare. You ever been in a mobile phone shop?
Well, they pounce on you as soon as you come in the door. Yeah.
Yeah, they're virtually... You know, you don't even have to set foot in it.
I just bought... I got 2 mobile phones to replace a couple that I had, and I'm waiting for something to go wrong with them, because I got 2 free phones, the really thin ones, you know, that everybody wants, that everybody seems to have, and no one has any other phone but the one that I've got. And the deal was that the phone was free, and the rental was free for a year. So basically, you only pay for your calls. And you got free calls in the evening and at the weekend. Isn't that incredible? So how do they make money? Well, they must make money from kids being on the phone all the time, which they are. But me, I must be very susceptible to phone waves, because I can't put them in my head for more than about a minute before I feel like I'm boiling my brain. As I hardly ever use them. Fortunately, these things come with speakerphones now. Great. But they said that you get your money, you have to pay the bill as though normal, right? So it costs you 20 quid a month per phone. Right. But then they reimburse you by sending you a cheque once every 3 months. That's what they said. Now, this is a gigantic company. You will know them by name. They're one of the biggest. So I thought, well, how could I go wrong? Well, if they screw me, I will tell you, and I will advise you to swerve away from them. But that's just amazing. You wouldn't think that would be possible. And they give you a list of conditions. You know, you must read the following conditions in print so small that you'd need an electron. Not even in Cambridge University do they have an electron microscope that could decipher the print that comes with the contract that you have to sign. And so I'm thinking that in there somewhere there must be some sort of clause that you wouldn't have followed exactly, thereby nullifying the agreement. But I think that I've done everything right, so I'm waiting.
Yeah, I mean, these insurances are posh on it as well. They're terrible, because, you know, like you send a small print, and you'll find out that you're only covered if it's stood on by an elephant on a Monday.
Well, this is another thing, because it came with insurance. You get free insurance for the first 3 months. They just piled the free stuff on like you wouldn't believe. But you had to cancel the insurance, it said in this minute small print, within 14 days of you actually receiving the phone. Otherwise, you were going to have to pay for a year. And that would cost you about as much as it would cost to buy the phone ordinarily, right? So I did. And much to my, so I tried every way of contacting this company that has ever been invented without actually going around in person. I faxed them, I phoned them, I wrote them a letter. I did everything that you could possibly do to tell them that I didn't want the insurance, thinking that they would ignore it all and say, oh, well, we never got the letter. Sorry about that, but you owe us £1,000. But they did. They wrote me right back and said, okay, fine. So far, I'm completely satisfied. But don't hold your breath.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Ding in the tail sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't I cancel mine through the bank when I had one once. It goes out through direct debit.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually stop them from suing you. That stops the initial payments, but they can still sue you to get the money back later.
Right. Well, I must have been lucky with that one. I do find as I get older. You ever watched that program, Grumpy Old Man?
No, you know what? I haven't.
No. I mean, a lot of the things they moan about, like stuff like mobile phone shops, computers, I don't actually agree with it, which is sort of a bit worrying.
Those programs sort of irritate me. I'm becoming grumpy about those grumpy old people programs, because the shows that just are clips of talking heads, it just seems a bit cheap to me. You know, they'll often have what it was like in the 70s. Yeah. And we'll go back to 1973, and we'll have clips of music from 1973, and here's Alvin Stardust and Gary Glitter and all that lot. And then they'll have talking heads in between telling you what it was like for them living in 1973. And the guy's just 20 years old. How the hell do they know?
You don't really care about the stuff to talk about. Anyway, generally, it's usually stuff you want to avoid. Like Alvin Stardust.
So those clipped-together programs, and if Channel 4 aren't showing some stupid reality show, then it's some stupid top 10 show. That's all they put on that channel.
Yeah, Big Brother starting. Oh, I can't.
And they claim that they're a public service broadcaster. We give them our money to give us that tripe. Can you believe it? Lucy, I'll say right now, think of the first program that enters your head, BBC Two. Oh, threw you off balance there. The Apprentice, right. Yeah. Stupid reality show. ITV. Come on.
Okay, X Factor.
X Factor. Right. Stupid reality show. Channel 4.
Hollyoaks?
Hollyoaks. All right. Stupid soap. Yeah, I mean, if you go down the street and ask people, Channel 4, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? They'll say Big Brother, and then top 10 shows, and then maybe Hollyoaks or whatever other stupid tripe they serve up for you. What you will not say is anything that constitutes public service broadcasting. Well, that's what they're supposed to be doing. Hundreds of millions of pounds they're getting to give us public service. Can anybody think of anything that Channel 4 have ever done that constitutes public service broadcasting? No. Going back to that electron microscope in Oxford, you'd have to drag it down to inspect their oh, the word's gone completely out of my mind. Schedule. There it is. Is it schedule or schedule over here, isn't
Schedule.
it? Yeah.
Channel 4 News is good.
Channel 4 News. Well, you know what? I'm not sure, because the guy with the ties, Jon Snow, he's probably very good, but every time I see him, I think, is this guy actually up to it? Because he stumbles all the time. When he's asking questions, the first part of his question is always, well, look, hello, like his brain isn't engaged. He sounds like this.
I suppose what's the tune?
I think you're just dazzled by his tie, so that you don't really sort of take in the fact that he just seems to stumble all the time on questions. He's not rapier-like. So I'm not sure about Channel 4 News at all.
No. Hey, that's the only thing I think. I said that's going back years, the Tube. That's going back 20 years now, isn't it? So,
what are you saying?
The Tube. That's the only thing I can think of. You've got a good 20 years.
Oh, the TV programme, The Tube.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
I actually, I was looking through the pre-channels on there, preview the other day. And I come across, like I told you what site, it's The Tube, and I thought, oh great, they're showing the reruns of The Tube. There's a stupid programme about London.
London Underground, yeah, every now and again I see in the schedules that the Tube, and I think, oh, Jules Holland, and what's her name? But it never is. It is exactly right, some stupid programme about London Underground. Like, it's not bad enough that you have to travel on it, you want to see a TV programme about it? You're joking. Anyway, Aid, it's been a revelation. Thanks a lot, mate.
The game.
Oh, you want to play the game? Sure, why not? Number one.
Bill Clinton.
You know, like,
Not the same one.
That's all one bloke. Who's that?
That's Bill Clinton. That's it.
Bill Clinton?
No.
No.
I'm afraid you failed this test. What an idiot. Bill Clinton. What was that you just wrote up about penises?
There was a penis documentary on Channel 4. There was a week-long thing of it, different stuff each night.
Yes, and what part of that constituted public service broadcasting? It was just if it's not stupid top 10 shows or stupid reality shows or those well, I guess Big Brother is a reality show, isn't it? Then it's something to do with sex. They're worse than Channel 5. You know, Channel 5 put on who's that old queen who sounds she sounds like the Queen. Who's that old queen who does the art?
Do the voice again?
His thing was, the grand tourist would sit on his buttocks. That guy, who is he?
Oh, no
come on, the grand tourist.
It sounds like the former editor of Who's Who, Richard Fitzwilliams.
No, not him.
No.
He's the art critic of The Standard. He is great.
Brian Sewell.
Brian Sewell is the correct answer. Yeah, someone should absolutely stuff Brian Sewell and put him in a museum. Like right now, for instance. But that was on Channel 5. That excellent programme was on Channel 5. And Channel 4, meanwhile, was showing something about penises. Did you watch that? Yes, you did, shaking your head at me. Huh? Be honest.
Maybe.
You did. Right, which one? Was it the one with the world's most gigantic?
Yeah, the really unsavoury looking one. Yeah. Well, you know, just for the weird factor.
Right. No, just because it had the word gigantic in the title. Right?
I was
I'll
Actually, I was
take that.
flicking. I was flicking.
You were
and
what?
I
Sorry?
came across
Oh, no, what?
flicking on the remote, and then I came across it.
That
So to speak.
It just gets worse. I think we better go to a break so we can collect ourselves.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Hey, did you hear that, Keith? Is my mic up enough? Because I seem to be having to shout to even hear myself. Am I peaking? I'm peaking at like 4. Everything else on this show is peaking at 7. Hello, 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 hello. Test, 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 test. 5.5. Right. 6. Oh, well, 6 is better than 5.5, isn't it, Lucy? Let's go with Northwood. Hello, James.
Hello?
James. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Well, those are the pleasantries out of the way. What's up, James?
You know that guy who won't stop shouting about God?
Yeah.
This cream suit.
Pardon?
Does he wear cream suit?
This has got to be the setup for a joke. I hope it's a good one. No, he does not wear a clean suit.
Oh, no.
He wears a brown leather jacket.
Oh, okay. No, because once me and my friends, we saw a guy who won't stop shouting about God on the tube, and he wore a cream suit.
Okay, anybody else following this? 'Cause I've got no idea.
No, because, you like, saw some weirdo shouting about God and we should believe in him on the tube, and he was cream suit. That looks really ugly. And in the end, the police took him off the train, and once the tube driver said, would the man in the cream suit please shut up?
I kind of like it when the tube driver actually foists his personality on you, rather than just please stand clear of the doors, which is a bit impersonal. Yeah. Well, somebody should tell that bloke in Oxford Circus to shut up. Somebody should be beating him to the ground with large sticks while telling him to shut up.
Oh, you know the doomsday thing?
Yeah, 666.
Yeah, because do you know about Bible codes?
No, I don't. I must be the only person in the whole wide world who hasn't read that book.
Oh.
I'm waiting for the film. It'll take less time.
Yeah. No, because apparently it said that in 2006 there'll be some nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, well, you know who's going to be responsible for that, don't you? That's right. Yeah, Mr. I'm Mad in the Head. Can you believe that his name is actually I'm Mad in the Head? If you spell it out, that's what it spells. Mr. Yeah, him. Actually, he isn't always pictured with his finger in the air, but everybody around him is. Always with their finger in the air. What is that? Anyway, this is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott, and let's go with a call in. Oh, it's my old stomping ground, so to speak. Chelmsford. Stephen.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I remember you used to go to Boswell's, didn't you?
Boswell's Comprehensive. Is it still standing?
As far as I know.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, have you seen on Sky Digital how they've actually spelt your name?
What, for this channel?
Yeah.
No. How have they spelt my name?
With 2 T's.
2 T's. All my life. The extra T has been following me around,
The bane of your life, eh?
It is, yeah.
Also, you was mentioning Lucy's hand stuff earlier with the don't spray in your eyes message.
Yes.
I got some shampoo and it says on it, this is not food.
This is not food.
Because I was going to put it in a sandwich otherwise.
Yeah, well, you would, wouldn't you?
Indeed.
Well, they put food in it. It's all like lemons and oranges and,
yeah.
apples and pears.
And flowers and stuff.
Rosemary and thyme.
Indeed. Anyway, you know the whole 666 phenomenon?
Yes.
I'm flying out on that date to New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't even think of it until you mentioned it earlier, so thanks for that, really.
And 456 is coming up quite shortly. I think that's the date that Tom Cruise is probably got something to do with his. Are we calling it a religion? Do we call it a religion?
What, Scientology, is it?
Yeah.
Some sort of.
Those are those irritating people that used to stop you on Tottenham Court Road. I did that test once.
Did you?
Do they still have that shop? The Dianetics people?
I think they probably do, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
What are you looking at me like that for, Lucy?
Oh, just curious.
Yeah, you know, maybe this is a really long time ago, but the Dianetics people, the Scientology, the L. Ron Hubbard cult, whatever it is, they used to stop you as you walked up Tottenham Court Road. In fact, it was one of those buildings that's probably been demolished to put up some shiny office block that currently no one is using. And that's just something that remind me about the Dianetics, and I want to come back to that. I know I always start a sentence and then finish it 3 hours later. How is it that the property developers are continuing to make office blocks in this town? If you scan the London horizon, it's a forest of cranes, and they're all putting up office blocks. We have hundreds of thousands of square feet of offices that are empty. If you just to drive through the city or drive over the Westway, office blocks on either side, there's no one in them.
It's like one big building side, Nate.
So what possesses them to build office blocks if already... the Ark in Hammersmith, that gigantic building that looks like a boat, that's empty, right? Because Seagram's, wasn't it Seagram's, the booze people? It was initially built for them, or they were the first occupants. I don't think there's anybody in there now. Giant building. If you look above street level, anywhere in London, I'll walk along Oxford Street, any street, you'll see buildings that are absolutely massive, that are totally empty. There's no end to them. So how is it possible that they would build, that any sensible organisation would spend hundreds of millions of pounds building giant office blocks when there's already no one taking the office blocks that are currently available? You wouldn't think that would make financial sense. In fact, you'd think that a nutter would be in charge of that company, so there must be something else.
Well, maybe they're being run by that guy on Oxford Circus.
Yes.
Maybe he's in charge of it all, and it's like some sort of world domination thing.
Yeah, maybe he does have a plan. Something to think about. All right, thanks, Stephen.
No worries, mate.
But there must be something in that, don't you think? It must be some kind of a tax scam, or the government is giving them money under the table, or there's something going on there that would enable them to, because office blocks are not cheap to build. There must be millions and millions of pounds going into a small one, and it remains empty. There's one right near me. It's brand new. There's no one in it. Further than that, they're building another one behind me that will freshly be empty, and another one is going to come on behind me here. And this is a residential area. This is not even where offices are normally grouped. So they're going up all over the place, and there's no one in them. And this is always confusing. I don't get it, because no business that's interested in profit would put one up. You'd look at the market and say, well, there's too much office space that's empty already, so we're going to have to massively discount it to even get the hope of anybody coming in. But what's the point? I mean, you're going into a market that's obviously dead. So why build? I mean, every day you pick up the Evening Standard, and there's another proposal to put up some shiny new office building. We've got the Shard of Glass, which looks like it could be great, and we've got the the Gherkin, that's half empty. I mean, an iconic building like that, and they can't get people to sit in it, tap away at their pewters all day, and dream of a life more interesting. If they can't fill that, what the hell are they building more of them for? So you'd think that there has to be something else. There's got to be some kind of scam going on here, because why would you sink hundreds of millions of... I mean, how much must the Shard of Glass cost to build? 100 million, at least. A building that's that complicated and is going to be looking that beautiful is not going to be cheap. And so you'd think that for it to be financially viable, you'd have to fill it straight away. In fact, you'd have to fill it before you build it. You'd have to pre-sell it. And I'll bet you the bottom I'm sitting on that they haven't. So I'm confused, because no company would deliberately go out to lose money. So there must... No, I'm not saying about the Shard of Glass. I'm sure that's all above board and beyond reproach. But the rest of them, there's got to be something going on, don't you think? Because there's no end of these buildings going up. If you go up to a high place in London, you'll see that the centre of London is awash with cranes. All of the cranes that aren't in Dubai are in London, building office blocks that will remain empty forever.
Maybe they'll turn into flats.
Well, that's the only thing that actually makes sense, except they're all being built in places that don't have any infrastructure. You drive through the city of London after 5 o'clock, there's nothing there at all. It's tumbleweeds are blowing across the road. There's no shops. The only thing that is there is actually gyms, which remain open 24 hours a day for people who have to work in the stock exchange or wherever it is these people with bad, smelly suits work. Men never wash their suit. Never take. I know I said this before, but it's true. Men never take their suits to the dry cleaners, which is why, on a wet day, the tube stinks like a cat. It's true. Turn a cat round. That's what it smells like. Don't turn your nose up. Oh, calm me down. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah.
Dianetics.
Dianetics. They still do that. Because there's a lot of those buildings. There's a couple of buildings that are left on Tottenham Court Road that look very out of place, and they're old, obviously hundreds of years old. There's a pub that used to be the Elvis theme pub, and there's a couple of buildings that are next to it that used to be crappy electronics shops. A whole swathe of Tottenham Court Road got knocked down and has been replaced with shiny office blocks, which I bet are empty. And beneath them are shinier electronics outlets. But there's a couple of buildings in there, and one of them used to be the Dianetics shop. And the people outside were forever with shiny looks in their eyes, this vacant expression. Students would wait outside, just as students now try to collar you. It's like in a pincer movement as you go down the high street and ask you if you've got any spare change, please. Can we? What's your bank account number for whatever it is that they're selling that day? Because the charity of their choice wants to refurnish its offices. Oh, they've spotted a carpet in Harrods. Looks great. Have you got any money? So anyway, I'm going by every day, because I used to work down Tottenham Court Road, and they're always forever asking me to come in for a personality test. How presumptuous, I thought. As a plucky youth, I didn't have much of a personality, but one day I thought, as a science experiment, I'll go in. Sure, why not? 2 hours later, after question after question after question, they punched out the result.
And?
The result was, much to my surprise, I needed to buy a course for £200 from them.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3. London's LBC 97.3. 0870 9090973.
Nick Abbott.
So, did you hear about Keith Richards? He injured himself. I'll get to that in a minute. Have you checked this call in Wimbledon?
Yes, I have.
Thoroughly?
I've heard the anecdote.
Rightio. Hey, Mark.
Hi.
What's up?
I've got an anecdote, and also I'd like to mention something about Scientology.
All right. Anecdote what? Should we do Scientology first or anecdote?
Yeah,
Let's do the anecdote second. Something to build up to.
Okay, yeah. Right.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you know, like you say, as you walk down there, the pre-personality test, etc.
Are they still there?
This was quite a few years ago when I was at uni, and a friend of ours went in and did all the tests and that, and afterwards they showed him a graph, and they said, this bit's okay, this bit's not. And then he said, I noticed as I've been talking to you, you haven't been looking at me in the eye all the time, and as a result of this, plus your results, we need you to go, you should go on a course which costs you X pounds. So me and my friend went along the next day, did the test, and while we were being interviewed, we just stared the interview in the eye. We didn't take our eyes off him for a second. And afterwards he said, would you like a job?
Right. Yes.
You know, so...
Okay, anecdote.
Well, it's about Macmillan and wife had Charles de Gaulle and his wife round for dinner.
Macmillan and wife?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a TV programme called Macmillan and Wife? Yeah, they were detectives, weren't they? Macmillan and Wife. Didn't he... well, let's talk over each other all the time, shall we? And then nobody will be hearing a word either of us say.
Okay.
Macmillan and Wife. Yes, I'm sure the guy in Macmillan and Wife...
Prime Minister Macmillan.
Didn't he... Didn't he become... Didn't he become... No, it wasn't Rock Hudson. Was it Rock Hudson?
Yeah, I think so.
Rock Hudson had a wife?
Yeah, no, in the TV series.
Oh, right.
Okay. Anyway, the anecdote is Prime Minister and wife had Charles de Gaulle and his wife round for dinner.
Yeah.
And then the after dinner, having a brandy or whatever, and Mrs. Macmillan says to Madame de Gaulle, "Tell me, Madame de Gaulle, what do you think is man's greatest gift?" And Madame de Gaulle goes, "I think maybe a penis." And there was an embarrassed silence, and Charles de Gaulle says, "No, darling, in England they pronounce it happiness."
Right, okay, thanks, Mark.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, do you want to play the game?
Yeah, okay.
Got no idea. Well, it's several people saying the word If you guess them all, I'll buy you anything you want up to the value of £20. How's that?
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Number one.
You know, like,
Who dat?
Who is it?
Yeah.
Sounds like, oh, really? What's his name? Sounds like a footballer.
No, but thanks for playing, Mark. It does sound like... I suppose he does sound a bit like a footballer, yeah. If there aren't many American footballers. But, yeah, it's the same brain width. Hey, did you know that Keith Richards has fallen out of a tree? The Rolling Stones' A Bigger Bang World Tour has resulted in a hefty thump on the head for the guitarist Keith Richards. The 62-year-old musician, good grief, is he really? Was suffering from concussion after falling out of a coconut tree in Fiji during a break between concerts. Richards, known for such hits as Tumbling Dice and Fall to Cry, was climbing a palm at the luxurious Wakaya Club Resort when he slipped. Picking coconuts is quite common on the island, said a fellow holidaymaker at the resort. It's just that Keith had a bit of an accident coming down. He's 62 years old. What's he doing shinning up a tree to get a coconut? Surely he has people to do that for him. Richards was apparently collecting coconuts with fellow band member Ronnie Wood. The guitarist, who's survived years of drug abuse, says that he's almost like a chemical experiment all to himself, isn't he, Keith Richards? In fact, people should be picketing outside Keith Richards for cruelty to Keith Richards. The guitarist, who survived years of drug abuse, said that he was a bit a bit disorientated after falling 15 foot and banging his head. Well, yeah, it's Keith Richards. Disorientated? How could he tell the difference? Former Rolling Stone Bill Wyman thinks it's time his ex-bandmates called it a day. In a related topic, last night the 69-year-old... 69, isn't it incredible? They're still doing it. Of course, Bill Wyman isn't doing it. He's being a little more graceful. Last night, 69-year-old Wyman, the group's bass guitarist until 13 years ago, says the current world tour was foolish and reckoned Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, both 62, were doing it just because they need to have people telling them how great they are. He added, it's time they gave up. I don't miss the adulation in my life. I think Mick and Keith need it in theirs. They need to be adored daily. The Stones, often referred to as the Strolling Bones, have a combined age of 246. It must be like a drug. I mean, I know they've taken enough of them, but being cheered and loved by such a number of people must be addictive. And to give it up, you must be bereft, sitting in one of your mansions, staring out at 100 acres of Surrey, and you think, right, well, what's next? Where's my next clap coming from? And the Mail on Sunday and the News of the World had pretty much the same idea about the Keith Richards story, both giving the headline, more or less, Keith hurt getting out of his tree. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Wayne Rooney. Oh, no. I mean, the entire nation is holding its head in its hands. A huge cloud has parked itself over our summer. Exactly the same thing happened last time with David Beckham. Same bone as well. Doctors said Rooney must rest his foot for 6 weeks, technically meaning he could return for England's first World Cup match against Paraguay on June the 10th, but in reality leaving him with little chance of being fit. And what are they saying now? That he won't be playing in the first round, but he might come back for the big games, if we get that far, with the depleted squad now that we're taking over there. It gets worse. There are also serious doubts about Michael Owen, who broke down during his return to the Newcastle team at Birmingham yesterday, saying his injured foot still does not feel right. He broke his 5th metatarsal in December. He played briefly for the first time this year, was it yesterday? The England team's current injury list now presents Sven with a real problem. Danger of having to go to Germany without either of his world-class strikers. Well, he's chosen his team now, right? Is the deadline? No, May the 8th he has to choose his team. Other key players whose fitness is still in question include Ashley Cole, Ledley King, and now John Terry. Rooney's 4th metatarsal was fractured during Manchester United's 3-0 defeat, can you believe it, at Stamford Bridge, during which he was stretchered off in agony. The 20-year-old from Liverpool suffered a similar injury in Euro 2004 when he broke his 5th metatarsal in the quarterfinals against Portugal, and it was indeed a Portuguese player that did for him this time. He's going to get it. Is he getting it from supporters who should know better already? He will. Rooney, hailed as the best English player since the 1966 squad that won the World Cup, is more than the team's key player. He is a talisman. His demise in 2004 marked a downturn in England's fortunes. They were just basically no-hopers on the field, just staring around. Oh, are we playing? Oh, what's going on? Millions will hope for a miraculous escape this time, and the Sun are probably in a huddle right now, coming up with one of their kneel on this square and pray in this direction scoops. Ericsson has pledged to name a 26-man squad on May the 8th, before cutting 3 names from the list for the final FIFA deadline a week later. Can't we remove their metatarsals? Do they actually need them? They're breaking them all the time. It seems to be a bone of contention. They're nothing but trouble. Surgeons could offer them a twofer. We could take out their metatarsals and just snip off their testicles at the same time. They'd be nicer people, less prone to straying, and staying up all night having sex with grandmothers. It's a win-win situation. Think about it. I'm just trying to help. This is LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbot.
Here's one in Charlton. Hello, Rag.
Hello.
Is your name Rag?
Yes, it is.
Rightio. Is that short for anything?
Yes, short for Ragine.
Ragine.
Yeah.
Okay, Rag, what's up?
Hey, I would like to play the game, please.
All right, well, let's go through the formalities first. We'll have a little chit-chat first, right?
Oh, yeah, sure, go on.
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
so what have you been up today? I'll start again. What have you been up? I've started, so I'll finish. What have you been up today?
I've been doing my project.
Let me say that again. What have you been up to today? Say that 10 times really quickly.
I've been doing my project.
A project, right.
Yeah.
Fascinating. What project about what?
I've been making up a computer game.
Have you?
Yeah, I do conceptual work for, college work for an animation project.
Conceptual work?
Yeah, with, design, buildings, characters and stuff like that.
Now, is this a computer game where a lot of deaths happen?
No, just a walking about game. It's not being developed at the moment, but it's like a college project.
A walking about game?
Yeah, you walk around shops and stuff, buy stuff, do stuff.
A video game where you... Hey, Lucy, listen, they've made one for girls now. It's a video game where you walk around shops and buy things. Was that sexist? A little bit, but it's also true.
No, but that's boring, because you can't actually take anything home,
Oh, well, you're right. Yeah, window shopping, you must have done that. Kind of the same. You sit at home with your computer, and you look through the internet. How often have you looked through the internet at holidays that you can't possibly afford and just dreamed of, oh, look at that room there. It's one of those things that's suspended above water. Wouldn't that be great? Huh? You could dive right out of your bedroom window for breakfast. You come up with it in your teeth. You can't possibly afford it, but you've looked at it anyway. Am I right?
Yeah.
A game that I don't get it. Okay, talk us through it.
Well, basically, it's like a rescue sort of game. It's like, people get ill and stuff, and you go, like, charge in there with your, like, ambulance and stuff.
This is not remotely connected to how you first described it. Like,
well,
when you said rescue, I thought, like an intervention for a shopaholic?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So is this what you want to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to, like, get into the games industry, so...
Some people can make an enormous amount of money, but I don't think that there's much security in it, because these things cost a lot of money to make, and not many of them actually make their money back. Am I right in saying that?
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah, but,
But that's show business, eh?
Yeah, you gotta give it a shot, I guess.
There's no business like it.
No.
All right, are we satisfied with that chat, Lucy? Thumbs up or down? Does he get to play the game?
He can play.
He can play. I'm number one. We should all be really concerned about that. I mean, everybody says every now and again. I say a lot. But that was edited down from a speech that was, no longer than about a minute. Scary. Who is that man?
Is that George Bush?
It's George Bush. Now, I'm not going to cheat about this. I will, absolutely, with my own money and time, go out and buy you anything you want.
Really?
Yes.
Did I win?
No, not yet. There are more to come, but if you get all of them right, I will buy you anything you want. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Conditions apply. My decision is final, and no communication will be entered into.
Okay.
Number two. It's like being shot at, isn't it? Not a warm man.
What the hell is that? Can you play again?
Easy.
Easy?
Absolutely easy.
Did I get a clue?
It's this bloke. That's your clue. It was him speaking just then. All of these people are household names. Super, extra, double famous, and they have been in the news in the last week.
David Hasselhoff?
David Hasselhoff is the wrong answer. Oh, but thanks for playing. This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. Where are we? Blimey, is that the time already? And I've only been on the air, 36 hours so far today. Let's go with, who should we take? What do you think? Oh, him? Rightio. It's a bloke called Rob.
Hello.
Rob.
You were talking about fame.
Fame.
And I recently dropped off some people to, this evening actually, to watch An Evening with Joan Collins.
What, that's currently being filmed?
No, she's going to do a nationwide tour of talking about her life for an hour.
Oh, right.
With the 4 pups and a piano from Jonathan Ross's program.
Right.
But anyway, and that just got me thinking about the people who, let's say, used to be famous, but still cling on. It is a drug, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sure that if you do get adulation, then when it suddenly stops, then there's a giant hole left in your life. Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
I mean, take Cilla Black. The woman's, obviously, her career's over now.
That's not necessarily true.
Oh, it is.
The country loves Cilla.
No, they don't.
Yes, we've been loving her for the past, 70 years?
80.
At least.
See, the best thing for...
It seems that long.
I don't know if it's a revelation for people who might be listening who are famous, but why didn't they put 10 years on their real age, then people say they look good, as opposed to pretending they're younger?
Isn't Cilla back doing something? Isn't she doing something?
Chat show. She's done Paul O'Grady's show, I think, once a week. But
doing what?
Oh, presenting homeless dogs or something.
What?
Have you not seen that program? Oh, it's It's a brilliant program for pensioners and students and druggies.
You know, I saw Paul O'Grady, and interesting that you would separate students and druggies into two. You remember Venn diagrams in school? Those are interconnecting circles. Yeah, the shaded bit in the middle. Those are the people that you call the police about immediately. John Reed himself will personally intervene. Did we lose you?
Hello?
Oh, you're still there.
Sorry, I pulled my phone out of the socket.
But I can remember seeing something seriously wrong with my brain. See what I mean about that? I took this fair ride, this giant roller coaster in Spain, and I came off it, and since then my brain has not been the same. My brain in Spain is mostly not the same since I rode that roller coaster in
Barcelona?
Near Barcelona. Port Aventura. If I could find it on a map, I'd sue them.
I was going to go there recently.
Yes, Paul O'Grady, that's the fella. Yeah. I saw him live as a stand-up when he was Lily Savage.
Oh, yeah.
A long time ago. And he was properly hilarious, but so staggeringly rude that you would have bet your face that he couldn't possibly get on television ever, let alone be a fixture of afternoon TV when pensioners are watching. But he seems to be doing very well.
They go absolutely mad for him. I kind of understand it. I mean, he's...
Well, you know what? Pensioners, they like campery, don't they?
Yeah.
They kind of always have done. There's a thing in Britain, we don't actually like puffs, as they would call them. You know, old people would speak their minds, and that's what they would say. But they absolutely flat out love them on TV. It's as though they've been denuded, like they're desexualized because they're camp, like Graham Norton. Can you imagine Graham Norton having sex any more than you can imagine John Prescott having sex? Is his position untenable? That word keeps coming up over and over and over again, and only in the context of a politician who's being thrashed by the press. You'd never use the word untenable in any other context, would you?
There was a liberal thinker, I can't remember his name, died today, that came up with a phrase that's always used. I wish I could remember a reason of, but he coined the phrase.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you passed that on. That was great, Rob. Cheers.
Sorry. Anyway, moving on quickly.
Yes?
Have you had the misfortune of catching those phone-in now kind of quizzes overnight on ITV, like The Mint?
And there's another one, that screamer who's on that programme. What's his name? Unbearable. What's his name?
What channel?
The Mint.
Oh,
exactly what you
Brian
just said.
T. From Big Brother.
Is he that? Is that who that is?
I presume
a Big Brother contestant.
He won Big Brother in the second series.
People voted for him?
Well, yes, he's one of the gays.
Isn't he ever? Yeah. He's so gay, he should be illegal.
well.
No one's that happy, surely.
Well, he's putting it on, isn't he? He couldn't sit there miserable.
But that is a format, if you can call it that is coming to every channel near you soon. You know why? Because they make money out of it.
But I think Ofcom are banning it by the end of the year.
No.
I use something like that, or they really tighten up the regulation on it.
Isn't it that they can't answer questions that are so staggeringly stupid that everyone knows the answer?
Well,
like, what is your name? Call us now.
It's not like that. It's, let's just say, I watched one the other day. Name 10 party songs. Just any party song, and they vary from 500 for the easiest to, say, 10,000 for the hardest.
I'm not following you. Well, any song could be a party song. Depends what party you're at.
That's it. Any song could be. So people are phoning in 60 pence a time now. I swear to God, I started watching at 12.
I mean, if you're a really bad party, Kashmir could be a party song.
I mean, the top one was Superman by Black Lace.
What?
And the Time Warp was there, and I think...
Oh, the Time Warp, yes. I mean, Superman, I don't even know how that goes. Superman by...
Comb your hair, touch your toe, Superman. Blah.
That's not Superman, that's put your left leg in, your left leg out.
No, it's the Okie Kokie, which I downloaded today, actually.
Hey, didn't the guy who wrote the Okie Kokie die lately?
It's an old song, isn't it?
Well, it's an old joke. They put him in a coffin, and first of all, they put his left leg in, and that's when the problem started.
It's a bit of a disgusting song. You stick it in, out, and shake it all about. You know.
Well, it is now.
Sorry.
Thanks for that.
You stick your whole self in, your whole self out. Blimey. Where's this going?
So anyway, what was this call about?
Oh, so, no, let me finish this thing now. So this quiz starts at 12, and 3 hours later, they are still on the same
going. Yeah, painful.
And anyway, but basically, I started talking about people who enjoy having fame. Well, this is why I'm calling, really, because my fame fix. So I'll leave you now.
Oh, don't you want to play the game?
Go on, then. I've played this for years.
Well, shall we go past the first one? We'll just assume that you know that one. It's George Bush.
Oh, yes.
Here's the second.
That was Neil Kinnock.
Is not a bad guess.
Oh, I heard something.
It could be. But it isn't.
Is it?
You're a loser, baby, so why don't we kill you?
Go on, then. I'm a David murder.
Say goodbye.
Toodaloo.
LBC 97.3, going away to come back. Hey, you know what's coming to a TV near you soon? I mentioned this yesterday, and I thought, I can't bring myself to say it. But as the weekend's almost over, my strength is going to be replenished tomorrow. I don't have to do anything at all tomorrow, so I won't. So I have the strength to bring this to you now. The BBC is bringing you the following entertainment shortly. It says here in the Super Soaraway Stun, Radio 1 babe, Sarah Cox. Is she? Is she? Hands up who thinks Sarah Cox is a babe. Hands up who doesn't think Sarah Cox is a babe. Oh, it's overwhelming. Why is it that anybody under the age of 40 who's female is a stunner or a babe, and anyone who's under the age of 40 who's famous and is a male is a hunk, regardless of who they are or what they look like? Answer the question.
I've no idea.
Radio 1 babe, Sarah Cox, is being lined up for BBC One's newest reality... I mean, that guy who was on that last stupid reality show with all the tattoos in a crap band whose songs no one can whistle. It does not pass the old grey whistle test. Preston. I saw him described as a hunk today. That weedy, tattooed, ugly, freaky-looking oik is a hunk? In what parallel universe? Answer the question.
I don't think he's that bad looking. I think Chantel's worse looking.
Chantel, yeah, there's something about her that's just kind of...
Her lipstick always looks a bit mucky.
Mucky?
Yeah, it looks...
What does that mean, mucky?
It's sort of like it's sort of been slapped on without enough care. I hate that look, especially when girls put it over their lips to try and make it look like they've got bigger lips. You know, like...
Is that why they call it slap?
Maybe.
Do they just slap it on?
Slap it on.
Right. There's a woman who reads the news on the BBC. Will I ever finish a sentence on this show? I start topics and never finish them. How annoying is that? There's a woman who started, I think she does the 6 o'clock news. They dragged her over from the London local news service, you know, that stupid thing where they go to the London news and it's nothing but recent deaths in your area and the travel. And the recent deaths in your area have previously been described on the national news, so they're just repeating it because the national news people refuse to talk to the local news people because it's beneath them. That's why they repeat the stories so much. But they've dragged her over. I can't remember what her name is, but I saw her. I almost fell off my chair. She looks like she's been dragged out of the opera. She had earrings on that were glittering, and she might have been sitting there in a tiara. She had so much makeup on. It looked like she dipped her face in a tin of Dulux. She should be reading the news? Not at all. Get an older woman. Get Anna back on. Gravitas. That's what you want.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London, LBC 97.3.
London's LBC 97.3. 0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
So her name is Emily Mateless. I've actually had problems at school. What if she had any mates? Is that the one I'm talking about? She looks like she's dressed up for the opera.
That's right.
That's
Yes.
ridiculous. You can't concentrate on what she's saying because you're busy having your eyes spangled by her jewellery and her eyes, and then it's just ridiculous.
She's quite popular with lots of the boys.
Well, that's irrelevant. She's not. It's not a swimsuit contest. She's reading the news. You know. Anna Ford was right. We need old newsreaders. Anna Ford, who gave her last broadcast this week, has criticised the Beat for being ageist. Correct. Female presenters are not encouraged to have lines on their faces, says the 62-year-old. She looks fantastic, doesn't she? She's right, of course. Michael Burke looks great, but any woman his age is considered past it, says this, I think this is the Sun. But if I looked, I think this is, I don't know who it is. Anyway, it's irrelevant. So Emily Mateless, and what's the news on Mateless?
Well, I think she's already done Newsnight now, but she's very bright, and she's sort of getting in on the celeb circle and went to the Royal Television Awards, and she was wearing a dress that kind of had her boobs out on show, and she got a lot of publicity for that, which I think was not what she wanted.
I missed that. Not what she wanted. Right. So she went up the red carpet with her boobs on show, and she didn't want anybody to notice.
Well, it was just that the Newsnight stuff was coming out, so it's all a bit unfortunate.
I mean, what are they going to do on the 6 o'clock news next? Put in, like a stripper pole? This is ridiculous. You want old people to read you the news, because you don't trust people who are young and have got a face full of makeup, do you? You just can't take it seriously, what they're saying. You think, well, what do you know? You're telling me all this stuff. How do you know, you think? But if it's someone old, like Anna Ford, or Reggie Bosanquet, or any of those old people, you think, oh, yeah, that's the voice of veracity, that is.
There's especially few women presenters, aren't there, who, as they get older. Moira Stewart's still doing the breakfast news, isn't she?
Well, don't they say black don't crack?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a lack of lines on Moira Stewart's face. How old is she? She must be
I've no idea.
50-something. There's no lines on her face.
But equally, Anna.
Because I used to live in Clapham North, and that's what black guys said to me. I got that from a black person before you start writing in and complaining. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Yes, but I think that's fairly true. I mean, there's no lines on. See, my brain, like bits of it are falling out in the carpet as I'm sitting here.
Listen to George Bush humming and ahhing to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But there are no lines on that black newsreader's face, Moira Stewart. But I think in the news, particularly, you want someone older presenting it. You don't want the news from some youth, which is what Emily Mateless looks like to me. She looks like she should be presenting what people are wearing from the red carpet at the Oscars. Like, give her one of those jobs. I'm sure she's super bright, and if she is, then she should know better than to look like that on the news. I mean, how's Jeremy Paxman going to look? That dowdy old bloke is going to look like somebody just picked out the rubbish next to her.
What about Katie Derham?
Katie Derham, remind me.
ITV, very beautiful, little bit older, but not old.
Oh, kind of blonde, like a blonde hair helmet. Looks like she's got all the hairspray that the band Whitesnake haven't used.
No, I would say that's not her at all.
Oh.
But she's got darker hair, but she does often the London Tonight with Alice.
You know what?
Stewart.
I can't. Oh.
She's very smiley. Not so good at London Tonight as the serious news.
Something about Alistair Stewart. I just can't live with it.
A little cheesy at times.
Yeah, the cheesy news. You know what? That's not where I go for my amusement and entertainment. I don't want my laughs from the news. I want them from The Simpsons, for instance. Hands up, who saw the Ricky Gervais Simpsons episode? Now, keep your hands up if you even smiled, let alone laughed. Oh, that's everybody put their hands down. I thought I was the only one, you know. I mean, sometimes The Simpsons is the funniest thing on television, without exception. And sometimes it's just flat-out rubbish. Like, you sit through it, without even cracking a smile. And I'd have to say that the worst Simpsons episode I've ever seen was supposedly written by Ricky Gervais. Although I have my doubts about whether he wrote the whole thing, because it was peppered with so many inside American observations that I would doubt that he would even know what they were. So presumably, I mean, something like The Simpsons, like an American sitcom that's been running for so long, because the season in America is half a year. It's 24 episodes in the season, which is why the 24 TV program fits so well, because they do half a year, whereas in this country a season of comedies will be 6. It's quite easy to, relatively easy to write 6 episodes of something. Well, you'd think it would be, but apparently it isn't. But in America, they had to come up with 24 of them. And so they have a team of writers. There'll be 15 people who write these things. So I find it hard to believe, although having watched it, perhaps it's not hard to believe, that Ricky Gervais wrote the whole thing himself. And I thought, am I the only one that doesn't find Ricky Gervais funny anymore? Absolutely, The Office was one of the funniest things that's ever been on television. I mean, mostly it was painful to look at, especially when you see the repeats. It is a bit uncomfortable, because you're looking at a man who's clearly not all there, socially. But pretty much everything else he's done has been like, well... You know, his radio show was pants, really. I mean, it was just so kind of self-congratulatory, and I just didn't find it funny at all. I tried his podcast, and that didn't make me laugh. He did an interview show on the TV. Like a long time, he did a chat show, and that was awful. And he did a stand-up, which was okay. It wasn't brilliant. It was okay. So he's had The Office, which was brilliant. Everything else has been, well... And I always thought that I'm the only one who thinks this. Everybody else in the country thinks that Ricky Gervais is absolutely the funniest person to come out of this country since John Cleese. Well, I'd have to say that he's not in the same league, because John Cleese has got a great body of work that's funny. He just has to stride on stage, and he's funny. He did adverts for Sainsbury's that were funny, despite getting a lot of complaints. How ridiculous that you would complain that he was shouting at people in Sainsbury's. It was an advert. Anyway, they took it off, and they stuck the bloke with a tongue that's too big for his mouth. And he's doing very well. But the Sun pretty much wrote everything that I thought. And when you start thinking along the same lines as the Sun, then you have to take a deep breath and stand back from yourself. But this is Ali Ross's TV review. Sunday night, it's The Simpsons, and as Ricky Gervais points out, the trouble with writing an episode of TV's greatest show is that you can only make it worse, which is true, he says. But along the way, you can also knacker your own reputation, wind up viewers with your smug, fang-faced gurning on endless Simpsons commercials, and then write one of the worst episodes ever. One Trick Ricky, Brent on The Office, Brent on Extras, which is another thing I didn't think was funny at all. Extras, I tried and stopped watching it, and then people kept saying, oh, this is your genius personified, so I tried again, and I thought, no, and I stopped watching it again, and then people kept saying, oh, you must watch Extras, so I tried again, 3 times. It's just not funny. It isn't. So he's Brent on The Office, Brent on Extras, Brent on his live show, Brent on those ruddy podcasts, says Ali Ross. He can get away with that kind of language in The Sun. And now Brent on The Simpsons as well. The tie fiddling, the get the guitar love song for Marge, the awkward head swivelling pauses that don't work on animation. Yeah, I thought that too. All Ricky's usual comedy crutches were there, and it's an act that's wearing a bit thin, says Ali Ross. So thin, in fact, that it fell to Sky to insert the best gag, someone had to, with an apology during the ad break, in saying that Channel 4 will be unable to screen this episode for another 4 years, in which case... lucky old Channel 4. Sometimes it's nice to think that you're not the only one, you know? But maybe me and Ali Ross are the only people that think that Ricky Gervais is like, you know, he's not a comic genius. Maybe he just got lucky. I think that the thing with Ricky Gervais is that he is David Brent. I think that he is actually that person. which is so shocking that it is funny, and the script was funny. There's no question about that. And the performances that he got from the actors were hilarious, as was he himself in The Office. You can't take that away. That was one of the funniest programs that has ever been shown on television. But everything else is like... But he just won in the Rose d'Or, which I think used to be there again, this thing's dribbling out my ear. Liquefied brain matter. It used to be the Golden Rose of Montreux, right? I think that's what this is. Brits last night swept the board at the prestigious Rose d'Or International TV Awards. Ricky Gervais, 44, bagged 2 gongs, Best Sitcom for Extras, and the honorary Rose d'Or Award for his contribution to entertainment. His Extras co-star Ashley Jensen won Best Actress gong. QI presenter Stephen Fry won the Golden Rose for the Best Game Show host. And an actress called Jo Joyner from 5 Shows Swinging was voted Best Female Comedy Performer. Best Variety Program was the Friday Night Project. What's that? The Friday Night Project, Billy Piper. What does that mean? Am I missing out here? Best reality show was The Apprentice, and the award for the best game show went to that non-show Deal or No Deal, which is not a game show at all. I don't get it. I really don't get that show. And it's a worldwide hit now. It's a massive hit in America now. I'm not confused, because you can play along with game shows by shouting the answer at the screen, but how can you shout the answer to the screen in a show that's got no questions? But none of these people should feel too proud of this, because do you remember one year that the winners of the Golden Rose of Montreux were the only double act to have 2 straight men, Hale and Pace?
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
Hey, Phil.
Hello, Nick. How's it going?
All right, thanks.
Right, I don't know where to start now, because you've got me thinking about so many different points. You know the game, first off. Can I have a guess at the second person, please?
Well, should we do that at the end?
All right. Just don't forget.
You'll have to remind me.
Right, since you were just talking about Simpsons, I'll start off with South Park. You used to be a big fan of that. Do you still watch it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think that South Park, the creators of South Park are actual proper comic geniuses.
Well, Team America in itself was just superb.
Team America could be the funniest film I've ever seen.
Oh, we can't really quote any of it, innit?
None of it at all. No. Don't you know how busy I am?
But I was asking about South Park, because they actually did a whole episode on Scientology. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
With certain Hollywood people saying they can't come out of the closet.
Yeah, yes. I don't know if we should talk about this, but they were in a closet in a boy's bedroom, a closet being a cupboard, naturally. And the second half of the programme, for reasons best known to them, to the creators, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, Tom Cruise was in this boy's closet with people outside forever asking Tom Cruise to come out of the closet.
And then they joined him in the closet.
And then he who's the guy with the planes outside his house?
John Travolta.
John Travolta walks in and joins Tom Cruise in the closet. So people are outside asking John Travolta and Tom Cruise to come out of the closet. And then some rap star. What was his name? R. Kelly, right. And then he walks in too. And people are forever asking R. Kelly, John Travolta and Tom Cruise to come out of the closet. Which is just the sort of thing that you can get away with in a cartoon, but not in real life.
But did you hear that Isaac Hayes quit over that?
He quit supposedly quit over their treatment of his cult religion, whatever it's supposed to be called.
So he killed him off in the first episode of the new series.
Yes, which I also saw, and unfortunately that episode wasn't that funny.
No, it was quite disturbing, actually.
It was a little bit disturbing, yeah. It's something that you can only get on the net.
Well, yeah.
I think the Scientology thing has been banned in this country, hasn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think they showed it once in America, and then it's been banned.
Yeah,
and I think that
it's... part now, it's just the net, because you have to wait like a year to get it over here now.
And then I think that they also banned the other one we were just talking about. Oh my God! I think 7 hours a day on the air is actually taking its toll. The second one that we were talking about, the one that they killed off Chef. Oh, now I've told the people. Huh?
Have they started showing that series over here yet?
No, but you can see it on the World Wide Wait.
Well, yeah, that's why I've seen them all so far.
Yes. Thank God for the internet, eh? What would we do without... Can you imagine having the internet taken away from us now? And what would we do? I mean, we used to live life relatively recently without it, quite successfully. But if we were asked to do it now, what would we do? We'd be stymied.
Well, it's the same as TV now. That's the thing. I mean, they were, old people always used to say to me, we used to be able to live without television. Why can't you? Why do you always watch it? But then you see old people, and all they do is just sit in front of the TV all the time.
The thing with television...
Well, as for them saying that they live without it, they didn't have it.
The thing with television is you can live without it. Whenever you go on holiday, when I go on holiday, the last thing I want to do is read a newspaper or watch television. And you don't miss it at all. But when I'm at home, it's pretty much all I do. To the exception of virtually nothing. I never go out now. Ever. Why would you go out when you've got 150 channels of stuff to watch on Sky?
It's odd that we actually got onto the net, 'cause I wasn't trying to talk about it, but I tried to talk to you about that last night, and then you disappeared for the news.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to talk to you about the MySpace friend site thing.
Yeah.
And I was trying to say that if you've got quite a big following on the internet at least, and I was just wondering if you did a MySpace, I'm guessing a lot of your, fans, because let's say you've got a lot of regular callers, will actually sign up and want to read everything that you type, because like you've seen on the net, you can do blogs and all sorts.
What, typing? Typing is not something that interests me. I don't want to sit and type. What do you mean, though, put myself on MySpace? I thought that was just something where you go and try and find friends. Or sex,
no, you can.
Frank.
People use it as their own website, personal website. They stick photos up to tell people what they're up to. Just basically keep people up to date with their lives when, it's when they don't know, really.
Right.
Just about, every sports star or TV star seems to have their own on it now.
Well, mine would be like a teenager's diary. Got up, had breakfast, watched TV, had supper, went to bed. That's it. Every day.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So I think I'll pass on that.
Right, well, can I have a quick go at the game before you go?
Game. Yes. number 2. This is number 1. I won't play all of them.
Bush, yeah.
That's George Bush.
Michael Parkinson.
Is the wrong answer. But thanks for playing.
Thanks a lot, mate.
He's very, very, very famous. And it has been in the news almost constantly lately, on a daily basis. Front page news. Not a warm man. No warmth there. You couldn't detect it with a microscope. Who is that? £20 of my money, I'll buy you anything you want. Anything you want. Let's go with a call in Bromley. Hey, William.
Hi. Hello.
Yes, William.
I was just going to say, you were talking about Macmillan and wife, Rock Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he died in 1990 of AIDS.
Maids?
AIDS. One of the first big stars to die of AIDS.
Maids? What?
AIDS.
Somebody came in and, cleaned his room really badly? He was stunned and just dropped down dead right in front of him.
You know what I mean. AIDS. AIDS.
Yeah, I know that. Everyone knows that. This is news?
Well, it's just bringing up the rest of the story that you hadn't finished.
What story?
About Macmillan and wife.
That's the rest of the story? That's all we can say about Rock Hudson, that he died of AIDS?
Whatever.
Okay, thanks for the news, William.
Right.
He's kept us up to date. He's only 20 years late, but at least now we know. Maids did it. This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. I didn't finish this BBC story, did I? Guess what's coming soon? Just guess. Have a wild stab in the dark, why don't you? What's coming soon to BBC One, starring Radio 1 babe Sarah Cox, who gets how much? Like £500,000 for 2 shows a week? She is worth every penny, isn't she? I mean, she's like, Oh, I'm trying to think of an adjective. Funny? No, I'll cross that one off. Interesting? No. Oh, it's like Lucky Dip. Let's pick one at random.
Attractive?
Well, she's a babe. She looks great on radio. Worth every penny. Radio 1 babe Sarah Cox is being lined up for BBC One's newest reality series. A show which features celebrities learning... Have a guess.
To sing?
Nope.
Present?
Nope.
Radio DJ?
Nope. Someone should teach her that, but go on.
We've done dressing. Eating? Haven't done that one.
No, I wouldn't be surprised, though, but no.
Pottery?
Pottery? No. Show jumping.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
Show jumping.
Wow.
It will be screened... Guess how often? That's right. Every day. For a week. In July. Sarah grew up on a dairy farm. So now we know. You know what they're going to call it? This will probably be the only funny thing about it. Only Fools on Horses. Which is probably why they came up with show jumping. They were having sitting around, spending our money on booze in a meeting, in inverted commas, and they thought, only fools and horses, only fools on horses. Oh, I know! Genius at work. Your money being well spent. Here's one in Wimbledon. Amy.
Hi, yeah, just a quick point. There's a very good reason why the only thing you find funny about Ricky Gervais is The Office. He co-wrote it with Stephen Merchant.
Oh, is that the genius behind it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you're right, Ricky Gervais is definitely David Brent. That's why I don't find him funny. He's a squirmy person. Actually, I first remember him on... Do you remember the 11 o'clock show?
He kind of is squirmy. Yeah, you're right. It's a bit repellent.
Smarmy, sort of... Yeah.
He comes across like he wouldn't be a very nice person.
Right, I mean, he was first televised on the 11 o'clock show with Ian Lee. I don't know if you remember that, way back.
No.
Yeah, and he came across as a right loser then,
He was on... Right, I didn't know that.
Ask Ian Lee, he'll tell you.
Right. Huh. Doing what on that programme? What was he doing?
He was just sort of doing like a voice box on the street, It was definitely not funny. It's all improv, I think he had a bit of a drink problem then.
Well, let's just say for balance that maybe he didn't have a drink problem.
Well, it was naturally beer gutted.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean...
No, well, his whole demeanour, quite slurred and...
When you're digging a small ditch, the best thing to do, Amy, is just keep on digging.
Well,
and then depart and leave us in it.
Okay, I'd just like to say the thing I really find funny at the moment is Green Wing, particularly Dr. Statham. Absolutely brilliant. Do you watch it?
Well, no. You know what? I missed it the first time round, and then I saw all these ads, these giant posters all over town for Green Wing, and I thought, what on earth is that? It looks like the strangest thing I've ever seen. And then it came back, and because I hadn't seen the first series, I didn't bother. And then the reviews came out, and people like A.A. Gill and all the other reviewers were saying, actually, the first series was comic nirvana, but the second series is flat out rubbish. So I thought, oh well, I've missed the boat there.
Yeah, but you don't watch it for the plot, you watch it for the characters, and some of them are really good. I mean, they do a lot of improv,
Sometimes I just, if it's a new comedy, I just think, oh, you know, I just won't bother because I'm bound to be disappointed. And there's so much TV. If you've got one of those personal video recorders that just stores television for you, you're forever behind. You're forever playing, like Henry Kelly used to say on that stupid afternoon game show. You're ever playing catch-up.
Right. But like I say, you can just watch it at any stage. It's not a, you know, an intrinsic plot line, really.
Right. Okay, well, I'll dip in and out. How's that?
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy.
Okay, bye.
Ta-ra. Yeah, this is LBC 97.3. I think the best thing on television right now is a repeat. And I've seen them before, but even having seen them before, they're still the best thing on television, and that's The Sopranos, which Channel 4 are throwing away in the middle of the night. And if we didn't have personal video recorders, where would we be? Fiddling with trying to get your video to... I couldn't go back to that. Nightmare. So, yeah, there's the Sopranos. And the comedy act in The Sopranos is actually a rock star called Little Steven. Can he act? No, he cannot.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3. London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973. Nick Abbott.
I didn't quite know how to take this story. I mean, see if this makes any sense to you. This was in a paper of record. I think it's the Telegraph, judging by the typeface. Scientists have invented a way to let people speak without moving their lips or making any sound. The space agency NASA has developed sensors that work out what someone is preparing to say, even though the words are never spoken. Are you with me? Instead, phrases appear on a computer screen and can be converted into speech or sent to a mobile phone. The technology could let executives compose discrete text messages in meetings, or commuters to have silent mobile calls on a train. NASA's aim of astronauts talking to Earth from space more easily has been tested with firefighters who need to stay in touch while working in noisy environments. The silent speech interface reads electrical current between the brain and speech muscles as sentences are formed in the head. These signals can be detected by button-sized sensors under the chin and beside the Adam's apple. That can't possibly be true. Wasn't it not the Avengers, it was not the Persuaders, it was one of those names from the 70s. They didn't jaunt, but they spoke to each other without... They crashed in the Andes and were... and had local Andean people bestow magical powers on them, and they talked to each other without speaking. You remember that? I'm sure the programme opened with a shot of the water fountain in the lake in Geneva. They were called the... Oh no, this is going to drive me nuts. It's probably one of those shows on ITV4 that they're repeating right now. They're repeating all the old good stuff from the 1970s. Any ideas? No? Help me out? But, the Telegraph would just print that without question. The Champions! Absolutely correct, sir! Wow, that's a loud one, isn't it? Yeah, the Champions. I wonder what that's like anyway, because I used to be mad keen on that as a child, and the things that you used to love as children, when you would revisit them, things like The Prisoner, for instance, or The Persuaders, which was a class act because it had Roger Moore and Tony Curtis in the same programme. But when you go back to them, after a while, it's like, you can't go back, really. Some things you can, like Dad's Army. It's still nice to spend time in those old men's company, because they're kind of like your friends. Some of it is not laugh out loud funny, but it's just nice company to keep, you know. But other things is definitely of their time. You didn't hear any of that, did you?
I heard the tail end. What about Columbo? I still like that sometimes.
Yeah, yes, except it's a lot less interesting now we're all grown up, because you know what's going to happen. It's just the same thing. And he always does the same tricks. Like he'll question them and he'll irritate them because he just stumbles around and looks stupid. And they think and it's always Captain Kirk. What's his name? It's always him. It's always him. What's his name?
Shatner.
William Shatner. Did he have to be called Shatner? Anyway, he's always, and they're always rich, and he's always just freshly killed someone, and then Columbo shows up in a car that leaks oil, and with a cheap cigar, and Shatner thinks to himself, I can befuddle this fool, but no, because Columbo starts getting on his nerves. And then he'll leave the room, and then he's always like, oh, one more thing, he'll come back. Same thing every show. If your name was William Shatner, don't you think you'd change it? Quiet, isn't it? Hey, does anyone want to play the game? 0870 9090973. I am running out of steam. I've been on the air for 14 hours this weekend. You have to help me.
I think the second one's too hard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah. Or what about another one?
All right, another one. Now, this guy couldn't possibly have been in the news more if he'd actually taken up, if he'd become Rupert Murdoch. This is so easy. Come on. Easy. Right?
That's easier.
Easy. It's getting good reviews, by the way. Can't wait. Because the second one sucked, but the first one was great. The second one was awful. John Woo, he can go and take a flying jump at himself. Rubbish movie. So what would you rather I talk about now? Internet dating, army kit shortages, Prescott, we better leave him out, because he's disputing some of those claims. And but his face, it's his face that fascinates me most. He's always, is that man ever not in a bad mood? He's got a face like the proverbial, archetypal bulldog chewing a wasp. He always looks like he's got something horrible in his mouth. Well, she certainly did. But the less said about that, the better. So I've got BBC helplines. This is actually quite a shocker. Seem to be bashing the BBC a lot lately. You know, they give out helpline numbers at the end of BBC programmes which may or may not have offended you or worried you or caused you concern or, you know, stuff like that. Well, this is quite a revelation. Viewers who call a free BBC helpline after watching distressing programmes are being cut off after just 2 minutes to maximise profits for the operators. Internal emails reveal, says the... what is this? I should write the names of the newspapers I've plucked this out of. I bet this is the Saturday Telegraph. Internal emails reveal that people manning the BBC Action Line, which offers counselling on issues such as rape, cancer or drug abuse, are told to restrict conversations to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. A brief chat, in other words. Operators claim they have been told that if they spend longer than that, they risk disciplinary action. Insiders at Capita, the computer firm running the line for the BBC, say the target was drawn up because the company is paid for the number of calls processed. This gives a financial incentive to clear calls as quickly as possible. Free phone numbers for the line, it's their free phone as a condition of the BBC Charter, are broadcast at the end of radio and television current affairs programmes and after soaps such as EastEnders when they feature controversial or disturbing storylines. Or people just give up the will to live after hearing the theme tune. Does it have to be so funereal? Last night a spokesman for Addaction. Oh, you see what they've done there? It's addiction and action. A drug and alcohol treatment charity said it was very worrying that somebody who is distressed could be cut off in mid-sentence just because the call's not earning any money. One email from a manager to a helpline operator congratulates him for keeping calls under the target time. Keep up the good work, the manager says. Another email tells him that he has had a very good week because he kept calls to an average of 1 minute 45 seconds. Somebody's calling up because they've been raped, for instance. How on earth could you deal with that in 1 minute 45 seconds? The operator who passed on the emails, because he was, quotes, disgusted by the way Capita runs the services, said, "We are trained to close the call or take control of the call, which is jargon for keeping the call short. If you don't meet the call times, you're put on a personal action plan. And then, after a period of time, if you've not improved, you face disciplinary action." You remember Capita, they won the government contracts worth more than, guess how much? That's right, £2.6 billion since Labour came to power. Its boss resigned early this year after £1 million loan to the Labour Party was made public. The two are not in any way connected. Let's go to Chadwell Heath. Mushvik.
Yeah, that's right.
What's up, Mushvik?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, mate?
All right.
You're a bit moody tonight.
Am I?
Yeah, you're slagging this person off, slagging that person off.
Oh, well, I was listening to Steve Allen earlier on. He's affected he's warped my fragile little mind.
See?
So what's up, Mushvik?
Nothing much. I want to play the game.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have a little chit-chat first, right? We've got to get that out of the way. The pleasantries, first off. So, what have you been up to?
Today, I've just been revising, mate.
Oh, right. Revising?
Yeah.
For what?
My first year exams at uni.
Yes? What are you studying?
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy?
Yeah.
Is that a subject?
Yeah, it is. It's a professional...
Well, yeah, I know that, but I didn't think that you could actually... that there was a degree called pharmacy.
Yeah,
I thought you'd have to take chemistry and medical science and all of that, but there's... Huh. And how long do you have to study to be a pharmacist? It's an incredibly long time, isn't it?
No, just 4 years.
No, you can't be a pharmacist after just your initial degree. I'm quite certain about that.
Oh, right, yeah, you do your 4 years undergraduate and you get a 1 year training and then you're a qualified pharmacist.
Really? I thought it was 7 years.
No, not in this country.
Are you absolutely sure about that, or are you about to have a rude awakening?
No, I'm absolutely sure.
You've checked?
No, I've checked. It's a 4-year M.Pharm degree.
Right. And how much does a pharmacist earn, by the way?
It depends, varies, from different aspects of pharmacy, basically.
I mean, they run a shop, right? Is it like a shopkeeper, in that they just, whatever their turnover is the money they make, or is it more like a doctor, where you get paid for, time served?
Well, there's different aspects. I mean, you could be a hospital pharmacist, where you get your money from the NHS, or obviously if you're a community pharmacist on the high street, it is turnover. And also there's working for industry, drug discovery and stuff, where you can make...
Oh, that's where the big money is.
Big money. But they are very ruthless, the drug industry, don't forget about it.
What do you mean, ruthless?
As in, they're not, you always must read the papers, the fact that drugs are so expensive and they're not making it cheaper for Africa, and drugs like AIDS drugs especially,
Well, they're in business. They're business people. That's what businesses do. They maximise their profits.
Profits, exactly.
They're forced to maximise their profits. It's out of their control. Their shareholders insist upon it.
Exactly. People don't see that.
So they just shrug their shoulders and say, it's nothing to do with me, Governor. you want to practice that in the mirror every now and again. Nothing to do with me. So people will be forever coming into you. It's not as bad as being a GP, but I guess you don't get paid as much as a GP. You won't be paid £250,000 to work from 9 till 11, Monday and Wednesday, and afternoons on Thursdays, will you?
No, I don't think so. But
that's probably the reason why it takes most people 2 weeks to get an appointment with their GP, because they're never there. What do they do when they're not there? Because you look at the GP's opening times, and it's, 9 till 11, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, afternoons on Thursday, and that's it.
I mean, it varies from GP to GP, but, and I think the media have kind of blown that £250,000 a year up a bit.
Yeah, they have. They found one person that earned $250,000 a year, and then suddenly they made it sound like they all do. They don't. They earn about $100,000 a year, which is no small change. I mean, it's not Radio 1 DJ money.
It's about, I think, average about 80 to 100 grand. Yeah, that's about right.
But, you know, Radio 1 DJs have to say, hey! And if you can't come up with that on a regular basis, then you're obviously not worth £10,000 a show.
I don't think I've ever heard them say hey, but, you know, don't really listen to Radio 1 that much, actually.
No, well, you and me both. We're not teenagers anymore. Well, you might be. I guess you're not.
No, I'm 20.
We're not 15 anymore, so it's not for us, quite.
I wish I was 15, though.
You don't. You can't. Possibly wish you were 15. You're 20.
Exactly.
Everybody listening to this show right now is pulling their hair out, wishing that they were 20. You're wishing you were 15? Why?
Well, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? You know, you kind of look back and think to yourself, 15, you know, you didn't have any worries. And now when you're 20, it's like, got to buckle up and mature up and think about your career and stuff.
I don't think that's true at all. You didn't have any worries when you were 15. I think you have a worry bucket, and whatever age you are, you fill it with whatever's around you. When you're in a pram, your worry bucket is full of where's my next thumb coming from. And when you're 15, it's oh my God, I've got a spot the size of a Volkswagen on the end of my nose. Your hormones are oozing out of every pore in your body. You don't know which way to turn.
Good point. Very well, good point. I like your perception on that.
20? Perfect.
Is it?
Well, if you had the mind of a 44-year-old and the body of a 20-year-old...
Yeah.
If you had the mind of a 55-year-old and the body of a 20-year-old, you'd be Rod Stewart.
I wouldn't mind Penny Lancaster on my arm, that's for sure.
On your...
Arm.
Arm, right.
Yeah.
So you're going to be a drug doctor, eh?
A drug dealer, yeah.
You have people coming up to you all the time. Like I was going to say, it's not exactly like being a GP, where it's just one sick person after the next. Most of them are like regular... You know, LBC gets regular callers, GPs get regular callers as well. Every day, probably the same people, over and over again. It's oozing. Oh, blimey, this one again. Take 2 aspirins and don't call me in the morning. But you will have people coming up to you all the time and asking your opinion. Are you ready?
Yeah, definitely. For sure. I mean, pharmacists these days, they're kind of the first stop before, I think sometimes even before a GP, because with a GP you've got to call up, get an appointment. You can go straight to your pharmacist kind of thing.
Well, people can't get appointments with their GPs because, they're only open when you're working, so you can't go. And even if you could go, it's in 2 weeks' time, by which time you'll be cured or dead. Actually, it's true. My current GP is incredible. There's always something wrong with me, and there's a well-worn rut between me and my GP. And you call up, and you can get an appointment within half an hour. It's amazing.
Well, that's pretty decent, actually.
Everybody listening to this show right now, rushing to the phone, wanting to know the number of my GP. It's the only time I've ever been to a GP where you can get an appointment, not just that week, but that day. Always. He's got no patience. I think my file came over when I moved. He said, oh, God, this bloke, I better cancel all my other appointments and just permanently be here, waiting, twiddling my thumbs, because he's bound to call.
Like celebrity status, eh, Nick?
No, I think the NHS, like a red flag comes up every time my name's mentioned. Oh, blimey, this bloke. Which is why he always asks me, have I got private health insurance? Because I think I've drained the NHS. Every penny that I've spent in the NHS has been freshly drained out. I think we all have an account. And once you've drained your account, then the GP is prompted to ask if you've got private medical insurance. I'm ill more than anybody I've ever... And I do everything right. You name it, I do it. Bran, vitamins, sleeping, exercise... Fruit and veg. How many people do you know eat 5 fruit and veg a day? Like the Tony Blair's insisting that you do. No. He went to a gym the other day to make us go to the gym. You don't need to be photographed on a rowing machine to alert people to the fact that there are gyms out there. You silly man. He did it probably just to get some publicity that wasn't. Is it time to go, Tony? Oh, he wanted to show us that he was still fit and raring to go. So he got himself up in chav gear and went to the YMCA. He did. That's absolutely true. Right.
I think, you know what, I think he should have left when he won his second term, because then the economy was strong, health services was still, you know, there, and education was still okay. And if he had that deal, air quote, with Gordon Brown, that would have been the perfect time to hand over, and he could have left Downing Street with, like, you know, being probably one of the most, and obviously before the Iraq War as well, he could have been probably one of the most successful prime ministers of all time.
He could have continually walked on water for the rest of his life.
Like Bill Clinton has after 8. I mean, that's why in America you got the 2-term only, and Bill Clinton kind of walks on water kind of thing. Every time he says anything, everyone listens, and that could have happened to Tony Blair if he had gone after his second term.
Yeah, but you know, you need a time machine. Really, you need to go forward in time to determine the exact right time to quit. And yeah, it sort of went by him. We need to take an ad break, so I'm going to get rid of you by playing the game. Because I'm quite certain you're not going to get far, all right? Number 2.
I thought I was going to get the other
Other number 2.
Is that our Deputy Prime Minister, John Prescott?
It's not. Oh, dear, but thanks for playing.
London's LBC 97.3.
0870 90 90 973.
Nick Abbott.
This story came and went, talking about Tony Blair, and he probably is ruining the day that he did stick around for another term, because now it's like he can't leave now. Like, he can't just up and go now, right? Because it's too much of a bad word storm. So he's got to stick it out and go out on a high, which is what Maggie Thatcher was going for, and she left in tears. I wonder if it's going to go the same way. But this came and went during the week. A Tory activist was threatened with arrest unless she removed a jacket that bore the slogan... No, I don't know, I can say this on the air. You remember the Sex Pistols album? Never mind the... Here's the Sex Pistols? Can you say the word that I just blanked out? Lucy's not paying attention. She's listening to Radio 3.
Can you mouth the word to me again?
I won't mouth it. I'll just say it again. You remember the Sex Pistols album? Never mind the... Here's the Sex Pistols? You like to say that?
People can probably guess it, can't they? Why don't we say Buzzcocks instead?
Yeah, all right, good one. A Tory activist threatened with arrest unless she removed a jacket that bore the slogan, Buzzcocks to Blair. That almost works. Julia Gobert was outside Earl's Court tube station distributing local election leaflets when 2 British Transport police officers, who obviously had nothing better to do, told her she was causing offence. Mrs. Gobert, who was helping 2 Conservatives in their bid to be... I don't know, there's something about the Conservatives lately, they've got a bit of spark to them, don't you think? She was helping 2 Conservatives in their bid to be re-elected to Kensington and Chelsea Council, was wearing a Countryside Alliance fleece jacket and a baseball cap given to her by her sister, also bearing the anti-Blair logo. She said this attracted dozens of people to approach her outside the station entrance in Earl's Court Road and take the leaflets. You don't have to say, vote Conservative. You just say, Buzzcocks to Blair, she said, and they take the leaflets out of your hand. The 1986 Public Order Act prevents the display of words or signs that could, quotes, cause offence. Over came the 2 British Transport police officers, and one said, we are going to arrest you unless you take your jacket off. I've got no idea if that's how they spoke, but that's in my mind. That's what I'm making up. You are being offensive to school children. Oh, come on. It's the rest of us who have to be protected from the school children. Are you joking? She says, I took it off, but left my baseball cap on. Whoa, she's a rebel, and she'll never be any good. If I had a shirt on underneath, I would have been naked, she said. If I hadn't had a shirt on underneath, I would have been naked. And that would have been even more offensive to some. Oh, don't do yourself down, Julia. We haven't come along very far, really, have we? In 1976, the police were prosecuting, I think it was Virgin record stores, for putting the Sex Pistols album in their windows. They ordered them to take it out. That was in 1976. And now, all these years later, They're still calling it offensive to walk around in public with it. What I can't believe is that someone hasn't called it offensive that boys are belting their jeans underneath their bums and walking around Sainsbury's with their shirts off, thereby showing all and sundry their underwear in the fresh goods section. I mean, how is that not offensive? The Oxford English Dictionary's got this word in it. It's also in the Bible. Can you believe that? In the Bible, it's spelled B-A-L-L-O-K-E-S. And balderdash is a polite alternative. Not buzzcocks, you were wrong. Here we go. Let's go with Tottenham Court Road. No one lives in Tottenham Court Road. Come off it, Dean.
All right. Hey, Nick. Hey, Nick. Hello. Hello?
Stereo.
Sorry?
It's in stereo.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Dean.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
Yes, Dean. I'm all right. What's up?
Good. Nothing. Well, we've just come back from London and we were on our way home, so I thought I'd give you a ring because I was listening to you on the radio.
Are you in Tottenham Court Road?
We've just come off Tottenham Court Road now. Where are we? We're on...
You're still in London.
Sorry?
Never mind. Go on.
Oh. So
you want to play the game, eh?
Yes, please.
Number one.
Okay.
You know, like,
It's like cold starting a car.
Blimey, well, who's this? Okay. Is it, Bill Clinton?
It's George Bush, I'll give you that when we've been over this ground. How can you... Bill Clinton?
How the hell... No, sorry, how is that George W. Bush?
How is it not George Bush? Who else could that possibly be?
I'm still on the speed camera. You've just manipulated that so no one can get it. That's a con.
I'm telling you, it's George Bush.
Alright, okay, yeah, alright, I believe you, really.
The guy in the car says you've just gone through a speed camera. You alright?
Yeah, apparently, but we might have got flashed. Oh dear.
Here's number two.
Oh, Frank Bruno?
I hope you did get flashed. You need Find Boy. So what have you been doing in London this late at night?
Well, we went to Chinatown.
Chinatown. You didn't eat there, did you?
Yeah, we did. It was nice.
Oh, right. Well, you better speed home.
Yeah, no.
There is a hospital quite near you.
Is there?
They're very good. Almost nobody dies there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we had shark fin soup. It's nice.
I seriously doubt it was shark fin soup. It's very expensive. How much was it?
I don't know. I paid, but I didn't find out the price.
You didn't check the bill?
No, I didn't. I just paid.
Foolish child. Shark fin soup. No, did it taste a little like chicken?
It smelled a lot like chicken, yeah.
It's probably chicken.
Yeah.
Or something like it. Yeah.
Or something like it.
Number two. Not Frank Bruno.
All right, then. Who is it, then?
Somebody more famous and newsworthy than that.
Oh, okay.
Somebody who could be lording it over us anytime soon. Oh, come on, mate, it's easy. I know you're listening on a mobile phone. If you thought that this was Bill Clinton, you've got no hope.
Well, no, it does, no, oh, God, I don't know. What's his name? John Prescott.
John Prescott.
Yeah.
You're just wildly stabbing in the dark now, aren't you?
Yeah, got no clue. You've manipulated them so we can't understand, can't hear them properly.
I've manipulated them.
Yeah, that's what you've been doing for the last 14 hours.
Manipulating them, yeah. And that's what I'll be doing tomorrow as well, as a matter of fact.
Available on DAB Digital Radio.
London's LBC 97.3.